Mic is on, desktop audio is on. I'm going to, so go ahead and introduce yourself, FocusSight, introduce your game. You got a few minutes if you want to do any history of the game or anything you want. You got about 4 minutes before we can start.
I think I'm gonna be fine to talk about it during the run because I have it planned. Because of course, loading
3
screens,
hours.
you're fine. Like this game is about 25% loading screen, so.
Well, tell us about your community.
So yeah, I should say hello everyone. My name is FocusSight or just Focus. I am mainly a Sonic 06 speedrunner. I've been doing this for 8 years now, 40% of my life. God. But yeah, basically, Sonic 06, it's the epitome of what I would say is a bad casual game, but an amazing speed game. And this is one of the reasons why I recommend people don't judge a game as a speed game by the way it looks from it casually. Sonic 06 is by far one of the best, if not the best, Sonic speed game out there. There is a lot of really cool tricks and stuff that some stuff we found as recently as this year, like let alone a few weeks ago. So the community is still thriving and going strong. I'm really proud to be an administrator for the community, and I'm really happy from how much attention we've received recently, and how many people are interested in really appreciating how good of a speed game Sonic 06 really is. Today we're going to be doing All Stories, which is All Stories is basically the beat the game category in a way. So essentially, there's a trick we'll talk about later, but we can't use because it essentially doesn't allow for us to unlock last story. So this is essentially four different categories put together in quick succession. That's Sonic Story, No Mission Select Glitch, Shadow Story, No Mission Select Glitch, Silver Story, No Mission Select Glitch, and Last Story, any percent. Essentially, there are these like the All Stories category is really just a nice little relay of the major categories in the game, and it's a fun one to run back to back. Everything you need to be decent in all the stories to get a really good time on it, but there's still room for improvement in all stories. Obviously, it's a little harder to optimize in the individual categories themselves, but I think it's a perfect example of how varied and wonderful Sonic 06 is.
And real quick, what is the current world record for this?
The current world record is 2 hours, 45 minutes, and 29 seconds, which I have for this category. My solo best though is like 2:36. So we had to wait and see. Every time, this is the third time I've actually shown All Stories, or fourth now, I suppose. I've shown All Stories this year, and bar one, I've gotten world record every time I've shown it in a marathon. So hopefully this will at least be a marathon PB. The marathon PB to beat. So the best time I've gotten in a marathon is a 2:50 flat, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely, I'm hoping I can at least beat that. I obviously do some stuff in this marathon run that I don't do if I was trying to actually go for a PB because it's a lot riskier, but I want to show off a lot of the cooler strats we see in the game and a lot of the unique features to 06. So if y'all are ready, I'm more than happy to have
get a
countdown.
One last thing, I don't know how much of a pain in the butt this would be for you. Just because you could get world record, if you want to throw up your live split in some of the black space, we won't see it here, but that way, if you need to submit it to speedrun.com for a world record, you'd have it directly.
I can't really fit it into this layout, and I don't think it's fine. It's honestly fine. People can retime it, and I have the splits.io to show anyhow.
All right, yep,
so,
just wanted to...
it'll be good.
All right, perfect. Just wanted to not make sure
you're jinxing the run mile by saying this is going to be world record before. It's definitely not now. But we'll see how it goes. So
good luck.
There's also plentiful time for donations, I should say. So please make sure to get donations in. I am more than happy. There's a decent amount of time throughout the run in some pretty obvious places. So please make sure to donate. And I look forward to doing this. So if we're ready, I can give a countdown.
We are ready. Go ahead whenever you're ready, and I'll click start.
Okay, so let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So Sonic 06 is quite an interesting speed game. The game obviously released in 2006 as an anniversary title for Sonic's 15th anniversary. It was a bit rushed, to say the least, to put it mildly. And so there's a lot of unused stuff and a lot of bugs that generally can make casually playing the game a bit of a nightmare to people. But it's a speedrunner's dream, to be honest. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful realization once you know what you can do with. So we start off with Sonic Story because that's the first to unlock. As you noticed, there might be a lot of load screens. Don't worry about that. We're running on the 360 release of the game. And the 360 release is actually the fastest version of the game currently available, because you can install the game to your console by hitting like game details install, and so they'll put like 5.2 gigabytes on your console, and that decreases the load times by 5 to 10 seconds per load. So these are actually faster loads that you can get on, say, PS3. PS3 is very slow. It loses about like 10 minutes per like hour, if I'm giving like a rough estimate. So the 360 release is just generally better. The 360 release is also just more stable, I find, and runs a bit better. Not to mention it has certain glitches that are used in the speedrun that are not available on PS3. So that's quite important when you consider... it's actually one of the first tricks we do. We do it in the coming stage, Wave Ocean. But here we are as Sonic. We're doing one of the missions to unlock enough rings to purchase the air chip, which allows us to do light speed dashes on trails of rings, a la Sonic Adventure 1 or 2. There is a way to skip having to do this mission, but it is basically, you talk to a young man, you basically hit him, and so he moves over slowly so you can launch yourself from a barrel, randomly I may add, to then hopefully get over to the mirror and go into Wave Ocean. It's not reliable. Like, don't do it. No one really does that, so it's not a useful strat, so we just do mission 1. One of the most important things about Sonic, Sonic's playstyle in particular, normally you actually aren't able to like exit the spin dash in this game. So there's something called spin dash canceling. If you hold the X button, you can end the spin dash early and, for instance, jump out of it, which allows you to like do some movement you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So, for instance, I'm going to end the spin dash here so I can light dash, get over to this area, and now we are at Wave Ocean, the first stage of the game. Sonic's story is the longest of the 3 major stories, Sonic, Shadow, Silver, because Sonic's story is the only story... Sonic's story doesn't have as many sequence breaks as the other 2, and also Sonic's story is the only one that repeats a stage. You repeat Wave Ocean as Tails later in Sonic's story, whereas in the other stories you do like 8 stages and then you switch over to like the main character. Ooh, can I save this? No. Ooh. Oh, whoa, okay, I cannot believe I saved that! Oh my god! So that's loop launch, and that specifically is cave skip. Wow, okay, that is not what I expected. That's usually a death. Okay. What I was trying to do was get into the out-of-bounds area there. Trying to get into that little bit by launching myself in a loop. This is a 360 exclusive glitch. It involves something called a whiff. I'm sorry, that was something. It involves something called a whiff. And a whiff in Sonic 06 is basically continuing a homing attack. Like, if you have a homing attack and you aim towards something but you miss it, you're going to perpetuate that homing attack until you hit another piece of solid ground. So, for instance, what we're doing is we're basically launching Sonic in the air until he hits something in the distance. What we wanted to hit was actually the inside of that little green rock area. But instead of hitting that, I actually moved too far inbounds, but I had just enough distance to get into the area and live, which never happens. That never happens. It is a 360 exclusive glitch because the PS3 version does not have homing attack triggers on the loops. So while the whiff is a thing on PS3, that specific trick is not. So yeah, now we're in the Mach Speed sequence. There are 4 of these in Sonic's story, and the best way to actually play the Mach Speed sequence is to not hold the control stick. At all. So the control stick enforces a speed cap up into a point. So if I just don't hold anything, and instead I just let myself move around by letting the rings letting the rings guide me, I can actually what's the word? I can actually overcome the speed cap and go faster than I normally would be able to. And that allows me to, that's only temporary though. So essentially the way to play the Mach Speed segments in this game is to essentially light dash off things, and when you notice that Sonic is about to slow down, hold the control stick again. So there are 3 tiers of what we call speeds. There's Speed 1, Speed 2, and Speed 3. Speed 1 is what you normally get in the Mach Speed by doing nothing, not even holding forward. Sonic will have full-on T-pose arms, and so he'll be very slow. If you light dash and then hold the control stick, you get up to Speed 2, or if you just hold the control stick forward for long enough, you'll get Speed 2. And so what that allows you to do is essentially a faster just part of movement, and that's typically expected. It is expected sort of speed you get to speed 2. Speed 3 is when you light dash off something and then don't hold the control stick. You actually go significantly faster than if you held the control stick. But because you aren't holding control stick, eventually you'll wear off to speed 1. So you basically need to let speed 3 happen for long enough until you can either chain another light dash or until you have to hit the control stick again. So like it's important to know the routings of stuff like that. Anyways, so this is something called serve clips. Just gonna try to time this. So that's a frame perfect trick that allows us to clip through walls. We're going to use it here to get this mirror early. Normally you're supposed to get something called the anti-gravity here to go underneath and talk to a girl over there, but we don't do that. Instead, we touch the mirror and then we talk to this girl that immediately warps us into the Dusty Desert area, which allows us to fight Egg Cerberus. This skips a loading screen and also having to go back to the shop to get a power-up. Although we will get that same power-up later. The anti-gravity is actually a useful upgrade in Sonic Story. So now we have Egg Cerberus, fitting that this is at Dog Pound Expo. Egg Cerberus is a boss with a capital B. Okay.
Okay, Eggman, I'll play with him.
Yep, Egg Cerberus. That's Egg Cerberus, everyone. Hi. Welcome to Egg Cerberus. This boss is like the one major instance of RNG, really, in the run that I can think of for Sonic Story, at least. And it's annoying. Remember how when we did that whiff in Wave Ocean, we did a loop launch and we got to go far and stuff, and that was cool? Well, we can do it off the rails here and then forfeit the entire boss, which is the opposite of that. So, in Sonic Story, this boss isn't, like, the worst. You basically just need to get a good enough cycle on the first hit to essentially get a two-hitter here, because there's the statues, they do double damage. Those don't exist in Shadow's version of the boss. Shadow's version of the boss is the first boss in Shadow's Story as well, which we'll get to, and you need to get 4 hits, not to mention Shadow does not have a spin dash, which means the fastest form of movement to try to get to Egg Cerberus, hopefully in enough time, is to homing attack a bunch. And there's a lot more risk and a lot less fortunate patterns involved in that one. That was a decent enough Cerberus. You take what Cerberus gives. Honestly, it's a boss that we just think, okay, this boss happens, it occurs, pretty cool. And now we're on to Dusty Desert. So, Dusty Desert is the first instance of a princess stage in Sonic 06. Sonic no longer can spin dash and can no longer kick, so the fastest form of movement here is just a homing attack. And they use the power of their bond to basically walk on sand and or water. It's a thing. So that's what the action gauge at the bottom right is for. It's a gauge to basically say how much can you do this. And I'm going to try for another loop launch here. Cool. That's unbuffered as well. I did both of mine unbuffered, but you can do some buffered loop launches in places by pressing start and A at the same time as Sonic. It'll buffer a homing attack. And in certain locations that's useful, but fortunately I didn't have to do that. Basically any buffered movement wastes a second compared to unbuffered. But there are certain things where you have to buffer a loop launch or like a homing attack. Like for instance, there's a trick here on that loop that I just passed that allow me to, if it's really precise, which is why I don't do it, but you can launch yourself to one of these jump panels here. No one does it in RTA, but it's the fastest way to do things in IILs. So I'm gonna get hit here, and then I'm gonna just go over here. Pretty cool. Ring trail, again, speed cap braking by not holding anything as I go into the dash panel, and then holding something again after I'm done. And we finish like that. Why do we get hit? That's really important, actually. The reason why we get hit is to avoid an S rank here. So the S ranks in the game give you an additional gold medal, and the gold medal animation is, in typical playstyle, like, in the majority of instances, these medals are unskippable. Skip them, but it's not a practical thing in most instances. We'll talk about it later when we get to Shadow's story. But essentially, if you can avoid an S rank in less than 5.5 seconds, you're going to save time RTA there, because the S rank, the animation for a gold medal, takes 5.5 seconds. So getting hit there at the very end allows us to basically avoid the S rank, which means we save about 5.5 seconds without actually wasting that much time getting hit. Okay, so now I'm actually going to concentrate for a little bit. This boss is a little bit difficult. So Silver's boss fight has changed so much throughout the years. And I found this new method fairly recently, so I'm just trying to concentrate so I can heal Silver. Like that? Okay, so what are we doing there, essentially? What is happening? with that boss. Essentially, Silver, if you're a set distance away, not too close, not too far, Silver will pick up objects near him, and he'll be immediately invulnerable. Or vulnerable, rather. And so you can homing attack him. What I'm essentially doing there is abusing his AI. So I'm getting him to... For the first 2 hits, I'm getting him to teleport dash. He's vulnerable then, and will go a set distance ahead, depending on where we stand. And that allows us essentially to, like, homing attack him, get a hit. But then I want to stay, like, not too far, but not too close either, if that makes sense. Like, somewhere in between. So that he picks up tables or objects around him. And he's vulnerable, and I can just homing attack him like that. And when I get to that point, I want to do that 3 times total, and then I'm going to force him to teleport dash again, which is also invulnerable, but later on. And that allows me to get like a 21, 22, 23 second time. There is a consistent method by just basically going far away from him, so that he does a teleport dash and then homing attacking that way. That gives you a consistent like 25, 6, 3, 3, but we saved about 2 seconds by doing that method instead. This is the most infamous mission in Sonic 06. This is mission 5, Who is the Captain? Who is the Captain is a funny mission. It's actually a tradition to guess the time that I'm going to get on this. And I would usually say I gift subs if people get it exactly right. Know that Sonic 06 runs at 60 frames per second, and so the times at the very end of the milliseconds are like 16, 33, 49, 66, 83, and flat, 0, 0. So it's like 1.4 some of those numbers, or something like that. 1.416, for instance, so yeah. It's a short mission. You talk to the same dude twice, because the actual thing that they say, like the clues, this is supposed to be a puzzle, and one of the clues is you've already talked to this captain, you've already talked to the person before, and that means it can only be one person, the person you started the mission with. And this is what they do. This is just what they do. You know? That's how it happens. So I was trying to do something there involving buffered inputs on load screens. We'll get more into that later, once we get later into the run, essentially. There's a lot of stuff that essentially involves doing certain inputs on the load screen to allow you to buffer stuff like first frame on the actual next stage. And that's particularly useful in Silver's story and Shadow's story. It's used in Sonic's story a few times, though. But we're going to buy the anti-gravity now because it's useful to for combat for these next 2 missions. Sonic's story is actually probably the most, like canonically tight, I suppose. I don't know how to explain it. Like, sequentially tight. There's like no, you have to do all these missions. There are instances in like Shadow's and Silver's story where we skip several missions and it's fine. Sonic's story, they pretty much worked out all those kinks for some reason. And so now we're getting here to mission 11, and this is a combat mission. So Sonic has some interesting combat mechanics involved. Homing attacking is your friend for things like airborne. But when you're on the ground and you want to do multiple hits, you can do this anti-grav, which is essentially like a slide attack. It keeps you invulnerable, but allows you to get multiple hits on enemies like that. We use it in quite a few places, and it allows us also to get like multiple hits on the same enemy. So I can get like, you know, you just chain the enemies here and then go over to here, that. But even like this giant enemy here, just slide under him, he'll be good, and we'll get like that. So, if there are any things you want to mention, any of the hosts want to mention, now's a pretty good time because the next 2 missions are pretty simple and self-explanatory. So if there's anything you want to shout out or any donations you want to read, go right ahead.
Well, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to speak about the charity that we are currently doing, as well as the people we're doing the charity for. So we're currently, so the charity that we're partnered with is To Write Love on Our Arms. It's a non-profit movement dedicated to present hope and finding help for people struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. They exist to encourage, inform, inspire, and also invest directly into the treatment and recovery of those people. This year is more important than ever to reach out and try to help people with mental health. Many people have lost their jobs, currently in isolation and hiding away from the world because of COVID-19. They cannot get out. They cannot see their families and friends because they risk catching and spreading the virus. All proceeds donated to DPX this year will go directly to Write Love on Her Arms. We don't touch the money at all. It goes through Tiltify, which gives it directly to them.
Yeah, it sounds like a great cause, honestly. There is, I know a lot of people personally have been just hurting because of social isolation, and it's definitely not been easy on anyone. But if you can give, please make sure to. It will pay off in dividends, I think, to people who really need it. And we would fully appreciate, honestly, any support. So this is mission 12. Yeah, this is essentially the same thing, but like, so combat in Sonic 06 is pretty self-explanatory, honestly. But there's some cool things I can do, like I can use the spin dash to like kill that enemy and then jump out of it right after. This mission is weird. This mission's really weird though. So the time this mission ends is really strange. Is really unpredictable. Sometimes you can get like 17, sometimes you can get 19 from doing like the same things. Like I got 18.099. Can't explain why particularly I got that time. It just sort of, the mission ends when it wants to. It's hard to explain like this mission. It doesn't make sense, to be completely honest. And now we're getting on to the third stage of Sonic's story, which is White Acropolis. And this is the first of 2 snowboarding sections, both of which involve speed cap glitches, which I'll explain, well, right now. So the snowboard in Sonic 06 controls very interestingly. It's easier to control and has more fluid movement if you hold and prepare for a jump. So if you're holding A, it's much easier to control it. And so, for instance, I actually use the bumper buttons to control the camera, which are on 360 are the bumpers. It's actually the triggers on PS3. I find them really useful to move around because I can just hold forward and let the bumpers like turn me around, and it'll move Sonic accordingly. But the speed cap glitches that I'm referring to, essentially the jump panels in these areas are just bursts of speed that are temporary. But if you cancel the jump early, the burst of speed will actually transfer from just like a temporary state to your permanent board speed. I messed that one up, so hopefully we can get the second one, shower speed. If not, I'll just restart. So over here, I can just like ready for a jump. And I messed it up. I will try and go back again because this is it's really slow if you don't have like a speed cap glitch. So I'm gonna just do my best to get this. Okay, this is not working out well for me. I don't usually mess this up, but we'll see. It's just really important to get this because it is genuinely super fast. There we go. And you'll see a massive difference here. Almost uncontrollably so. So I'm doing my best to avoid clipping out of bounds by turning and slowing Sonic down accordingly and going through like here. Again, I'm holding A to control the stuff better, but I need to be very careful about where I'm aiming because there are certain objects that are going to come up here, like rocks, and if I like fly on them, I will die. So I'm being very cautious not to hit anything. Go around down here. I'm not going to hold A now. I'm actually going to allow myself, because if you hold a button on the previous screen, it will either allow you to buffer that input the first frame of the next screen. But if you want to do like a holding buffer, you need to actually not press the button before the load screen and then hold it on the load screen. So I'm actually going to jump out of the automation here. Allows me to go into here, and I can get much better speed by using that. There is a mechanic I failed to mention called M speed. I'll get back to it at a later point in the run. But we're just gonna, instead of doing any of the stage, we're just gonna clip out here, go over this area, and finish the stage as Sonic, the first Sonic, instead of actually playing any of it. Which is pretty cool, because pretty much in Sonic 06, the only thing you need to clip out is the right speed, geometry, and angle. And there we go, that's White Acropolis. So I was mentioning before, I mentioned the speed cap, correct? And how it's useful in Mach speeds to basically, if you like light dash on things, you'll go faster than if you were holding a direction or holding the control stick down. There is a position where you're basically walking instead of running, and that actually does preserve, or doesn't hold the speed cap. So you're able to go at faster speeds and even control yourself slightly if you hold this like really small radius around the control stick. It needs to not be neutral, but it needs to not be a running speed. It needs to be just a walking speed if you want to get that. And that can be kind of difficult to manage. It's a slight optimization, and it's particularly useful in Shadow's story, but it has a use there because the dash panels in Sonic 06 basically just take input speed and give you an output speed, which can be higher than the speed cap would normally allow. So it allows me to, like, if I break out there and then do that, it's, you know, cool. And so now we have the second snowboard section, Crisis City. We've been warped to the future. The plot matters in this game, I promise. Smile. Yeah, there's another speed cap glitch here. You basically do it off that one. This one's really annoying because if you are too far forward, you're just going to overshoot the jump panel entirely. Not to mention that Sonic doesn't really have invincibility frames in the traditional way in these sections. So if you align yourself with like an enemy like that worm over there, you'll get double hit and you'll die. So being careful and cautious of this sort of stuff is really important. Now we get on to the second section of Crisis City. The second section of Crisis City has a really cool trick at the very beginning called a rail shoot back. I can't explain why this happens. There's a few. I've been running this game for 8 years, but there are some things where I'm just like, it's 06. Just yeah, it's just how it works. So you're gonna homing attack back, and then homing attack there, and there you go. That's rail shoot back. I think it's basically an error state where the game's like, okay, I want to get you onto a rail, but I don't know where you are, so I'm just gonna send you to the middle of the rail, which I think is down there. And this is a very automation-heavy section, but I'm going to do a very recent trick later on. I'm going to get a checkpoint just to be safe. It'll be fun. You'll see it. It involves a ladder. But yeah, there's a lot of automation in this part of Sonic. There's one important thing about rails that I've failed to mention so far. You might see I'm doing like 1 spin. I'm actually doing 3 every time an animation like that comes up. Because there is, for each of the different characters, there's like set timings for when you get cooldown for those rail speed-ups and when you don't. So as Sonic, essentially you can do like a constant rhythm like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that allows you to build up more speed than you would normally be able to, and that's the fastest way of building up speed on a rail. I'm gonna get the checkpoint here just to be extra safe, and then I'm gonna go up here. We have a nice ladder over here, hopefully. Just gonna jump on it. And okay, there you go. That is a object launch as Sonic, essentially. Physics are fun. Havoc's physics engine, good. It's a good engine. Promise. Certified good. It's hard to explain, but essentially the kick itself adds momentum to an object, and the ladders actually don't break. So you can kick on them, and you can propel them forward, and it's pretty predictable where it's going to go because it's a more or less flat object. It has a slight curve, but that slight curve doesn't really impact it too much. There are other objects we're going to do similar sort of physics manips on, mainly rocks. You'll see in a boss later on in Sonic's story, and a few places on in Shadow's story. And they're pretty interesting because it's just funny and also fast, which is like the 2 things Sonic 06 needs to be as a speedrun. So that's my pipe. That's Focus Pipe. There is like 3 different tiers of naming tricks in Sonic 06. There is pretty decent self-explanatory name like Super Extended Teleport Dash or Tails Flight Manip or Homing Attack Whiff. There is just plain wrong, like naming the trick the wrong thing. You'll see it in Silver's story with the Advanced Fire Claw. It involves the Spinning Claw. And also, there is just, my favorite category is probably Runner Object. Just like it's a runner name object, because the runner found it, and it's an object. It's my favorite thing, shower rope, white pole, focus pipe. It's just the funniest, like, area of names we seem to consistently have. But yeah, I'm using Speed 3 here to make sure that I don't get hit too much. Although I need to get hit the end to avoid an S rank. For the same reason we mentioned in Dusty Desert, to avoid the animation. Okay, gonna be careful here, because I don't want to get hit again. If I get hit again, I would have to redo that section. We're gonna go through, and jump, and finish Crisis City like that. Very good Crisis City overall. Usually I mess up the first boarding section a fair bit, because that second speed cap is really difficult to get. You have to like flick back, but not too far back, so Sonic doesn't like immediately turn backwards and then go forward again. And we're getting on to my least favorite stage in the game, which is Flame Core. Oof, Flame Core. Flame Core. We can do one of those same sort of breakout exploits again by holding A on the load screen into the stage. So here I'm going to hold A, and we're going to break out, and then I'm going to light dash into a trail of rings and hit a dash panel that allows me to break the speed cap, and I get to go like a second faster through this automated section at the very beginning. There you go. Do you see? Even the slightest Sonic's story, I think, is like the absolute king of small optimizations, because there aren't many huge sequence breaks. There is a lot of unique, interesting text still to Sonic's story, but a lot of it is movement, like a significant portion, I would say. Here's Punch Jump. This is a pretty scary jump. I was gonna try that again. There you go. You can avoid having to go around and actually do the platforming there by just doing a really tight jump. Sonic also, as I mentioned, pretty much any speed or angle, you're good. That's all you need. It's the right speed, right angle to clip through anything. Those doors, they do not work. And yeah, so Sonic has a really interesting homing attack. It seems like a lot of the time Sonic goes, like, not as, like, his homing attack will go further than you expect it to. I unfortunately missed a trick here, known as Lava Dash. You can use the invincibility frames to basically spin dash up this entire lava waterfall, but I got hit too early, and so I couldn't do it. Combat again. At this point in time, we don't really have too many things, so I have to use the spin dash and the anti-gravity. So I'm going to spin dash these enemies and then anti-grav this one for multiple hits, and we can go through there. This door is like the only door you cannot clip through as any character. You phase through it as Shadow, but that's technically a different thing altogether. You can't even clip through it as Silver, who's one of the fastest characters in the game. You can do something really dumb as Sonic, though, when you have the gems, but... Oh, and this is why Flame Core sucks. You see those? These are what we call Cocoa Puffs, and you can get puffed even at the very end here in the automated section. Although I think this means we're going to be safe. You can get puffed here. Like this area. You can get hit by a Cocoa Puff and die. Which, if you don't hit any of the checkpoints, I make sure to hit all the checkpoints just to be extra safe. You'll lose 1 minute and 30 seconds. It is a huge time loss, and that's why I hate this stage. People say this stage is good, don't listen to them. There is not an objectively good way to explain that. Anyways, homing attack is, as I mentioned, kind of funky. You can homing attack there, but depending on how high you are and other factors there, it's going to change like how easy it is to clip out there. We bought the anti-grav. If you use the anti-grav on like a vertical surface like that, you can just clip through. And so that allows us to skip having to do some enemy sections and just go into this area. Gonna spin dash through here. Oh, never mind. Hit this checkpoint, and we're gonna go meet Knuckles, as Sonic would say, Knuckles. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna meet Knuckles here. So Knuckles isn't used too much in Sonic's story. He's used in like 2 places, and you can skip him in 1. But we're actually gonna finish the stage as him in this routing. So we're gonna climb all the way up here, and I'm just going to jump clip through here. I just hold forward and jump through. I'm going to avoid a death plane that's directly in front of me there, and instead I'm going to fly around like this and go down into the goal ring area and finish Flame Core like that. As you can see, we avoided the S-Rank as well, but we can play on the results screen. This is going to become handy later, actually. The results screen, this is known as Results Breakout. So Results Breakout happens when you switch characters in the final stage of an area and then do not hit a checkpoint as the new character. It allows you to play as the character you swapped to, even if you're swapping back to a character you previously played earlier. This is important. This will come particularly in handy when we want to play on the results screen for a certain Skip and Shadow story. So now we have Iblis 2, and I don't like this boss. I'm going to try for early fast Iblis here. I genuinely do not like this boss. There is a trick here that I'm going to do that saves maybe 3 seconds every time you do it and wastes 40 seconds to a minute if you fail once. It saves 10 seconds as a whole if you get all 3. So Iblis normally is supposed to hit these purple orbs that are in the outskirts there. We're not going to do that. That doesn't matter to us. We're not a thing we do here in 06 land. We're going to homing attack here, go forward, homing attack, spin dash, and then kick into there like that, and that actually hits his eye. Sonic's spin dash kick has enough speed to actually clip through the stone like we're on, and essentially allow us to get a hit in pretty early, rather than having to go all the way out there and waiting. Sonic's spin dash and kick also have like invincibility frames. So that means we can just take a hit by getting a ring, going on the ground, spin dashing, and kicking, and we won't die. So far, we're 2 for 3. I just need to get this last one, and hopefully we'll be good. We'll see how it goes. But yeah. If there are any donations, now's the perfect time to read them.
We do have a $10 donation from Metadog saying thank you to FocusSight and all the runners this weekend. None of this would be possible without you. Special thanks to Focus for a lot of encouraging words about the event when last I was chatting with them in their stream. Also, everyone should donate to the no add-ons for MHW. It's flipping crazy.
There's a lot of pressure that was just relieved on me by getting all 3 fast hits. Oh. It's not that difficult, but the thing is, it's so nerve-wracking because if you miss it once, it loses so much time. but I got all 3, fortunately, and we actually got them with what we call good RNG. If the middle platform spawns, which has the rings on it that I usually pick up, that's actually like a second or 2 faster. I don't know why, but apparently it is. And one of the ways to try to get that is to kick earlier than you expect, apparently. And I think I actually did that timing well for all 3, which is good. Oh, heck yeah, my twin brother just passed his driving test according to my mom, just who messaged me. Cool. Anyways, that was Iblis 2. We'll see Iblis 2 again in Shadow's story, which will be pretty fun. It's much easier to do the same. So eventually, a lot of the times in 06, because there is overlap between levels and layouts and stuff, not always, but there is a decent amount. A trick that's found in, say, like one story, like for instance, the fast hit here, the fast hits for the 3 first cycles as Iblis, was actually found as Shadow, and then people then transferred it over to Sonic, because they're like, if this works in Shadow's story, maybe it'll work in Sonic's story, and that's essentially like the thinking behind it. And so because of that, we're able to, like, people who run specific stories can give, like, hey, this is the thing we do in our story. Maybe you want to look into it for this story, and that leads to a lot of interesting, like, cross-communication. Although I run all 3 major stories. Essentially, there are, like, Silver Runners, Sonic Runners, Shadow Runners, and I would say that I'm a specialist in Silver's story, which is arguably the hardest story of the bunch. It has the highest learning curve for sure, but I think it's also the most enjoyable. And we'll see that at last of the major 3. Anyways, here, we're going to get the bounce bracelet because I want to get into Radical Train. And also, there's this neat clip here I can do called a building clip, done in really good time as well. The bounce bracelet itself, like, preserves position in, like, one axis, but not the other 2. So if I, like, clip into the building at a certain angle, the homing attack will, like, push me through, and then I can bounce bracelet to, like, get inside, like, preserve, like, X and Y, and I'll stay inside the building while it, like, bounces me, and it allows me to save some time on movement there. That was, like, really smooth. Anyways, Radical Train, one of my favorite stages in 06, in general. To speedrun it is something else, though. So in Sonic's story, you're supposed to protect a train from being exploded by Dr. Eggman, because that's the thing. In Shadow's story, you're supposed to defeat a train by which is owned by Dr. Eggman. And in Silver's story, what train? There's no train. Train is not an actual essential part to Radical Train in Silver's story. Don't ask me why. I don't make the rules here. But yeah, Sonic's story, you can see there's a nice little thing we're going to do here. I'm going to homing attack this robot, and then I'm going to hold up right, and then we're going to just homing attack up here. Pretty nice little skip. I'm going to go over here. And we're going to hit all the switches because we can't actually complete the stage in fast enough time so that the things don't explode. In Shadow's story, you can avoid the first one, actually, and go directly to the end, because the stage ends where I just was. So you actually have enough time to avoid having to defeat Dr. Eggman's train at all, but in Sonic's story, you pretty much have to hit the first 2 switches. The final switch here is not necessary to defeat, because we can clip through the door using a spin dash. It's just a certain angle, and you can get it through just like that. Hit the spring there. Just gonna go over here, spin dash clip, and get to the end of the stage like that. And so now I'm going to go through Radical Train's Mach Speed. It's not that bad, honestly, in normal no MSG, but I run a category as one known as all gold medals, which is essentially the 100% category, and this stage sucks to do in 100%, because there are these silver medals everywhere, and they suck. We thought it was a good idea to add collectibles in an area where you can barely control Sonic. In fact, one thing I forgot to mention that's really important is that you might think I'm, like, controlling my jump. After you jump into Mach Speed, your direction is locked. So if you jump into Mach Speed, you can't move left or right. You can't adjust at all. So it's really important to be aware of... I'm just going to hit this. I already lost my rings, which was to avoid the S-Ring. I'm just going to get a 1-up because I already lost and got hit. So there you go. That's Radical Train. We get hit to avoid the S rank, but I actually want to get hit later, like on the back there, so it's my speed 2. Because if you get hit, you go back to speed 1, and that means it's a bit slower. You can probably see Sonic moving a bit slower as well, but that's just how it is. And now comes one of the most difficult bosses in Sonic's story. This is Egg Genesis. It starts off with a rock launch. Remember what we did with the ladder in Crisis City? Yeah, we're going to try to do that again, but on a stable rock. And this is quote-unquote consistent. I mean, it's more or less consistent. It's just standing in a certain position, then walking into a kick so that you get the right sort of curl and speed to get up to the top of Egg Genesis here early. So what I'm going to try to do is do something called triple cycle, which allows me to get 3 cycles worth of hits in pretty quick succession. So I'm going to try to do a rock launch first, get some rings. Try that again, because the rock launch is annoying. 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. Got the second try. I'm going to stand here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So doesn't matter which arm falls, but I will always get back on top. And I can go up here, stand, bounce bracelet, get up. There are these missiles coming. Ooh, I messed that up. See if I can get them again. Hi. Okay, unfortunately we did not get triple cycle because I accidentally got hit too early. I was trying to get hit and then get hit by the missile, so I stayed on the top of the platform. Did not happen, but that's okay. I can try for another rock launch, I guess. Yeah, it's fine. So we're just going to stay down here. That's okay. It's a bit of a time loss, but I don't really mind. I tried for it. It saves 20 seconds if you get triple cycle, so it's always worth going for. Oh, I did get a small hit from kicking there. Didn't realize. So yeah, we're just gonna finish the boss. This is actually not the intended way to defeat Egg Genesis, by the way. You're supposed to get on top of Egg Genesis and, like, pounce bracelet his head, but you can see that we can actually just homing attack this orange bit, like on his body. You can just homing attack this orange bit, which is actually the weakness for Silver's version of the boss. They did not remove it in Sonic's version, so you can just bounce bracelet down to it and finish it that way. That is not the intended way to defeat the boss, but it is a way, so you do it if you have to. And we're gonna get a 130 here. It's like consistently like 10 seconds after this beacon comes on, it's gonna end. So that is decent for a second try rock launch, but I could have done better. However, not bad at all. Not bad.
Incredible.
Some things are automatic S ranks, by the way. Most bosses are automatic S ranks. For instance, you almost will always get an S rank in bosses, because there's only like one boss I know of where you avoid an S rank, and it's like as fast as if you get the fastest time with an S rank. And that's in Silver's story, because the boss is so short. Anyways, we're here in Tropical Jungle now, where this is the last Princess stage we have, and I actually quite like the Princess stages, the Sonic and Elise stages, a decent bit, because it's a different form of movement, and it spices, like, the sort of gameplay up. We're gonna hope that we don't get flowered here, so let's hope that the thing doesn't happen. Yes, we call it the thing. You'll see why if it happens. There is a frame-perfect trick that will basically force you to restart the stage about 25 seconds in. I'm also going to hold hard right here so I avoid some rings. Because what we want to do here is we only want to get at most 28 to 29 rings in this stage in order to avoid the S rank. That's how we avoid the S rank in this particular stage, is by avoiding collecting too many rings. And we can do that just by, like, moving around at the right pace. So these flowers here, they are basically just springs. But if you press A on the wrong frame, the spring will basically shoot back, and that one there will basically drop you into a pit where you cannot escape. And so you force to restart the stage about 25 seconds in. Sucks if you get it, but we didn't, fortunately. The thing did not occur. Yeah, there's some cool little homing attack movement here, though. We can, like, avoid having to hit this regular chain by just homing this one and then going over here. I do one troll and then I homing attack. Go through. Like that. We're gonna do another one of those, anti-gravity clips here, because you can still, while you can't kick or spin dashes as Elise and Sonic, you can anti-grav for some reason. So I'm just gonna go over, get this, get here, and I'm holding X. I'm letting go of X now. I'm gonna wait for the sort of like blur to appear on the screen on the sides, and then once that happens, I can hold right and land onto a dash panel here, and we can finish the section that way. We're going to avoid the S rank, fortunately. We do one ring trail dash here, which means we need about 24 at most at the end of section 1, which we have 19, so we're absolutely good. And now I'm going to do some lag reduction here by holding down the camera. I can do a little bit of lag reduction here. This area is super laggy on 360, even though the 360 version is generally less laggy than, like, PS3. Doing my best just to keep the camera down. Of course, for ILs, for the in-game time, you'd actually want to do a bunch of homing attacks here. The lag reduces here, so you can go back to, like, just homing attack mashing at this point. And I'm just going to finish the stage more or less normally by going down under here and homing attacking this enemy, and also getting hit there, and then going through like that. And that should avoid the S rank. Should avoid the S rank. I'm looking at the numbers right now, and it's, yeah, avoid the S rank. And so that saves a little bit more time because, no gold medal, no second gold medal, obviously. And that's nice. So now this is one of the reasons why Sonic's story is a little bit longer, this stage in particular. For some reason, so like there is something known as the extra stage in every single story, where you play as one of the Amigo characters. They're referred to as Amigo characters by the DLC in the game Team Attack Amigo. The Amigo characters for Sonic's story are Tails and Knuckles. For Shadow's story, it's Rouge and Omega. For Silver's story, it's Blaze and Amy. And generally speaking, you play one extra stage as one of the Amigos in each story. You don't play an extra stage as both, like at one point. In Sonic's story, there are like 9 main stages in Sonic 06. There are 9 main stages. In Sonic's story, you do all 9 as Sonic, and go back to Wave Ocean as Tails. Whereas in the other 2 stories, you do 8 as the main character, and the other one you haven't done is done as the partner or Amigo character. So Sonic's story is legitimately just longer because you repeat a stage. You repeat as Tails, and Tails here has some interesting mechanics, namely his flight. His flight is super borked when it comes to stuff. But first of all, we're going to do a little bit of an automation nip here. Allows us to go a little bit fast and skip a lot of this stuff. As Tails normally has like a ceiling for his height, which you normally would hit if you just keep on holding A. But if you let go of A as you're ascending, you can go right ahead. By the way, wipe pull. That's what I was referring to as wipe pull. That's wipe pull. It saves maybe 0.5 seconds if you get it. But yeah, you can see I'm like resetting my height by it. You can see like I'm going high and then Tails like somehow like stops falling as fast. That's the sort of flight manip I was referring to. Tails essentially when you hold A for long enough will lock into a ceiling normally, but you can force that ceiling to be spawned later on by letting go of A early and then holding A again. It's a nice little way to get a bit more distance from your flight, and we do it basically to skip a lot of stuff here. Like skip having to... We did it earlier to skip having to do the platforming sections as Tails. You can see like I'm holding A again, and then it resets the ceiling, which resets the falling speed, and you can just finish the stage like that. Not bad. Nice number, 43210. Cool. That's a nice score. Just pleasing to look at. Okay, so we're getting into the trials here. You're going to see the trials again in Silver's story, kind of. You'll see what I mean by kind of in a little bit. The trials in Silver's story, we can do something in them that we can't do here as Sonic, so we have to play through them, but this is also the first instance of something called the gems in Sonic's story. The gems are custom actions. They provide custom actions that you can switch through with the D-pad and use with the right trigger. We're going to buy 1 gem at the moment, which is the blue gem. The blue gem gives us a burst of speed and is the fastest form of ground movement as Sonic. So, buy the blue gem, and I'm just going to go over here. You can see it like does a burst of speed.
And do we have
a moment?
Get
Bishop, because if you can scare characters sometimes by going in too fast towards them, and it's like weird how it reacts at certain points.
Do we have a moment for a donation read?
Yeah, this is the first mission for sure is, but the second mission, yeah, I need to concentrate on that one.
All
so
right.
yeah, go right ahead.
We have a $50 donation from Anonymous with no text whatsoever, just $50. So thank you, Anonymous, for your generous donation.
That's really kind, honestly. Wow. So this is the test of intelligence, and the best way to be smart is to avoid doing the actual thing it asks you to do. So normally there are these portals here that take you to certain areas, and you're supposed to figure out, okay, what portals do I jump in what order? But instead of doing any of that, I'm just going to go over here, bounce brace it twice, and I'll pop onto here. Like that, and that just finishes the stage. There is actually a slightly faster method by actually doing the stage normally. It's funny, people were looking into a glitchless category for this, which avoided like skips like that. And it's actually slightly faster, like ever so slightly faster, to do the stage by going through the portals normally, and then after jumping through the 4th portal, avoiding the normal spring yield homing attack, and instead hit a jump panel that's like right before the final one. And so that actually can give you like times of 7 or 8 seconds if you do it properly. It's really difficult to do properly, so it's just more consistent for me to do a 9-second time. And here comes the mission everyone hates. This mission scares me, and it should scare you too, because this is the test of courage. The test of courage is a combat mission with no rings. Get hit once, fail the mission. And what failing the mission involves is a load screen for the to talk to someone to say you failed, to then load back into the hub world, to talk to the person again, to then load into another area where the person explains the mission again, and then you get another shot at the mission. So it's a massive time loss if you fail it. I'm going to play it fairly safe here, by hitting enemies in certain orders, but I'm going to try for something called White Bounce. I got it. So that's a little jump panel skip. You need to hit the jump panels to actually advance on in this area. Otherwise, the game's like, I don't know, you haven't defeated all the enemies. Okay, that's another worrying part, but I'm just gonna anti-grab here, blue gem, go down, through here, and then finally we get that enemy, and dang! There we go, that was really good. You can see why that's nerve-wracking, though, because sometimes when you recover from a homing attack, you're vulnerable and can get hit. Sometimes when you recover from a bounce bracelet, you're vulnerable and can get hit. Sometimes you can get sniped by something you didn't see and get hit and die and restart the entire mission over again. And that's really nerve-wracking, honestly.
That was incredible.
It can be very scary, like super scary. And now we have the final mission, the test of love. Because in this universe, the best way to find out your true soulmate is to have two priests create two random blue portals that warp you maybe like 50 meters, like not even that impressive of a distance. It's still impressive because, you know, they're bending space and time. You have two of them, and then you select your choice of partner by talking to a priest. The funniest thing is there's actually no difference between like which one you choose. It could be either character, but I generally go for Amy because she's right there. Although that was slow because, again, I couldn't talk to the Oracle very quickly. But the funniest thing is the IL world record. I actually have the IL world record for this, and it's a tie with someone who did the exact opposite choice from me. So quite literally, it doesn't matter which choice you go for. Either is fast, so long as your movement is good.
That was incredible.
And we're approaching the end game of Sonic's story, actually. We're in pretty good. This has been a pretty good Sonic run so far. But arguably next is one of the hardest stages. The next two stages are some of the hardest ones in the run. Because we now have the blue gem, and so the blue gem is one of the fastest forms of movement. So you need to know how to use like gem mechanics become absolutely prime in the late game of Sonic's story. So we're just going to jump into this portal right here. Skip this cutscene, and we're going to start. So I'm going to concentrate a little bit on movement, but I'll explain what I'm doing roughly. There are some nice homing attack-like mechanics that we can exploit if I do this properly, but yeah, essentially the runners for Sonic's story, the main runners like Nick867 and Flub SRC, they really have gotten Sonic's story down to like a science of movement. It's really impressive, and I practice specifically with them for this stage because it's interesting. So yeah, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. You can see that like does a general rhythm. Oh, come on. There we go, that's Char rope, and that saves a little bit of time because you can skip having to go through another rope section. But it's hard because well, it's not that big of a time loss if you die, but if you die, yeah, it sucks. So I'm just gonna blue gem up here, kick through here so I don't get bonked. Up to here. Try to avoid hitting anything because homing attacking anything there is slower, and then I'm gonna do eagle skip. So I'm gonna allow myself on this platform here, jump, then homing attack, and we barely got that. You basically hit the trigger that the eagle normally takes you to. If you are too far away when you start the jump, you won't make enough distance to reach it. I barely had enough distance because I actually fell and then hit it. So, whew. If you fail that, that's like 20-second time loss. So that's pretty decent, though. Okay, now we're here in Kingdom Valley Sonic. Normally you're supposed to play as Silver, but Silver, at this point, is kind of weak. He'll become super powerful. You'll see later in the run. But instead of doing anything as Silver, we're just going to play through Sonic as here by just hitting on the out of bounds, or like the what's supposed to be like decoration, but it has collision, so we can just jump on it and stuff. And so you're supposed to do this as Silver or whatever, and go over here. Hi Sonic, as Sonic, very cool. And yeah, you can just totally attack the eagle here and get to the end of the section.
I'm going to take this chance and say that we have a $14.20 donation from Violette, the best a man can get, with the comment of Pog.
Yeah, that's a long name. That's a long name. But thank you so much, everyone. It's really, really appreciated, and I'm sure that I'm just really glad that we're able to support someone focusing on mental health, especially during this time. So yeah, hooray, doors, they exist, I promise. Doors totally exist. I believe in doors. Some interesting homing attack mechanics we're gonna do here, because again, I mentioned earlier, like, rails are interesting. Okay, rails are interesting. Whereas they, like, have certain points where they, like, center in on you, and you can do some really weird stuff that way. There's a skip here that I'm not going to do because I don't have the green gem. The green gem is like a tornado kick that you can do. It allows you to skip this automated section I'm going to just do instead. You can hit that eagle, which is really difficult because the timing, you need to avoid the spring and hit the eagle, also your angle. And then ride the eagle over to that little, like, there's a little small, like, the first panel we jump off here. You can, like, destroy the tower and then use the tower falling to jump into the jump panel, which is still there, even if it's visible. My mom is calling. Can I do this in the middle of the run? Let me just see. My mother is calling. Oh, I think my brother realized that I was doing a marathon. I could actually answer calls though in the middle of 06. That's one of the beautiful things about this game. I have time to do that. I've helped people with calculus homework in the middle of 06 runs. It's funny, honestly, how much you can do during the middle of 06. It's really fun. So yeah, I'm gonna spin dash into this corner and then just tap blue gem to push myself through like that. Because I wasn't holding a direction, so the speed cap's not enforced. Therefore, when I use the blue gem, I can just push through the door like that. I'll try to call my mom back in a bit if I can. I need to figure out where I have time. But yeah, this is the last Mach Speed segment, and arguably the most beautiful. I love this. I love the look of this stage. I'm gonna hold right here, jump onto this, and just go up. Instead of having to do the jump panels there, I can just, walk onto this bit. And again, using speed 3 to go through, jump here to get all the way over here, and then here, jump, speed 3, all the way over here. And yeah, this has been an especially good Sonic section for me. In fact, I don't want to say this now, because every time I say something, it's going to ruin it, but this could be for me in Sonic Story. For slow loads, at least. Although I don't know how the loads are. I didn't mention, but there are sometimes variable loads in this game, even on the same hardware. And it can be really annoying if you have, like the most documented instances are, in, Sonic Story tends to have, low variation be the most vital. Shadow Story does too. Silver Story, it exists, but it's not super vital. Yeah, okay, so we're approaching the endgame here of Sonic's story, which is the first, again, of 3 major stories in this category. And we're going to buy something here after we hit the bells. So there are 3 bells around slowly on a castle town that will, when we hit them, will unlock the final stage of the game, which is Aquatic Base. And Aquatic Base is fun. Aquatic Base is a stage. It involves the most gem manipulation, I would argue, and it is tight corridors, lots of blue gemming, and it's really fun to watch done. I'm gonna go over here though. I'm gonna hit this first bell over here. Then I'm going to hit the bell, and then go down here, and then I'm just gonna blue gem. You want to avoid hitting any of the people in Soliana Castle Town because you can bonk like that, and then that loses all your speed. So yeah, the NPCs are somewhat randomly placed, though. Like the ones that walk are. There are some definite NPCs, which you can easily avoid. But the ones that are walking, you really can't. So your saving grace is the fact that you have a kick. So I've hit 2 of the bells. I'm going to go over here and buy some of the gems. I'm buying 1 gem that we're not going to use here. I'm going to buy the white gem, the sky gem, and the purple gem. The purple gem will be used in Silver's story, because we play as Sonic in Silver's story. So I'm going to go over here. The Sky Gem is an interesting gem. The Sky Gem is a gem that can be thrown, and it's an object, and it will warp you to whatever location it lands at, as long as that location is solid ground. If it's not solid, then it won't do that, but... Anyhow. Final stage of the game for Sonic's story is Aquatic Base, and this is one of the more fun ones if you're at a high skill level. It can be something if you aren't. So I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to blue gem through. Notice that we bought the white gem, which is something we didn't used to buy. The white gem allows me to do those SERP clips, those frame perfect homing attack clips through doors by just using the RT button instead of using the homing attack. And why is that useful? It basically means we can constantly get those tricks which are really difficult to time, by instead switching to the white gem and clipping through like that. And it saves some time in certain door clips. Instead of having to either sky gem through them or regular homing attack clip them, we can just do that instead, and it saves time. Your control over like menuing needs to be good though. So now I'm here, sky gem up to this area. I'm gonna shoot a sky gem over to this part of the map. This is the start of Silver and Shadows sections. And essentially, we just skipped all of the normal play area we would do here, and instead we're just finishing this section in like less than a minute. Like, bam. Really quick, really cool. You skip all the Tails section, you skip doing a bunch of normal stuff with the gems. And the thing is, they were supposed to be limited by the action gauge at the bottom right of the screen. The bottom right of the screen like has an action gauge. You might notice it like shows like, hey, there's a bar here. It's supposed to drain according to the manual, what it says. It never drains. And because of that, you can just go right through everything. You can just use them as much as you want. So yeah, this is the final section. We're going to play as Knuckles here. There is a trick called Knuckles Skip, but I haven't learned it enough to warrant going for it in the marathon. I'm just going to switch to the white gem and clip through, and then blue gem. Again, once you kick, you also can't control your direction, so you basically need to hope you kicked in a good way. My brother's now calling me. I can't do this right now.
I'll go on ahead.
I'll be able to do it in a little bit. I promise. So yeah, if you want to read some donations or mention more stuff about the charity, that'll be a good time to do so now, because, yeah.
I will take this time and speak about some of the incentives we have in just a second here once I pull the page up. If it wants to pull up. Okay, so one of the incentives we have is the Vision Soft Reset True Completion Percent instead of any percent. We're currently looking for $15 or $50, currently 0. And then we have Monster Hunter World's 0% no add-ons. That is currently $10 out of 300. As well as Pet Google, which is currently $50 out of 100. And then we have Mr. D-Drag's webcam activated, which is currently $1 out of 1,000. So those are some of the incentives that are going on for today specifically. And also you can, on top of donating for an incentive, you can also donate to the poll with the same money that you're using to donate to the incentive. You can select a poll and choose your option there. So some of the options we have is the Celeste file name. Currently in the lead by $1 is the Fwahaha, which has an Easter egg attached to it. As well as Bomberman Act Zero Color, which is currently winning. Purple is currently winning with $1. You can also use Bomberman's Act Zero's gender.
That is a PB for me in Sonic's story for slow loads. That's pretty cool. Okay, sorry, I should have also explained this, boss. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Because this is a bit of an important bit. We can go back to the, I'm really sorry, just, I was trying to call my parents and everything in the middle of it. It worked, I did it. That's a PB for me for Sonic's story, for slow loads, at least if this is slow loads, I don't know. I think they're slightly fast, but even so, it was a good Sonic story run. So what did we do there? What just happened? Basically, you can homing attack the Sky Gem to get a bit more height and homing attack the, you can then homing attack the horn earlier than you normally could. As Sonic, and once you're there, you'll basically be, because the Sky Gem, remember, once it lands, it warps you to that location, so you'll have hit the horn, and then you'll have hit the horn, and then it'll be like, okay, you've started the boss, and now, well, what do we do from here? The game's then like, okay, the game's like, okay, you're still on Egg Wyvern, but it's then going to go, if you Sky Gem into the top of the arena, it's going to finish the boss early, and so it takes like 7 seconds. I got a second try there, which isn't too bad, but yeah, start a Shadow's story. So Shadow's used to be the most movement-heavy story in the game, but I would argue Shadow's story now is probably like a mix of movement and glitches. So what I did there was a pause clip. If I press A and pause at the same frame, or I can then like convert my homing attack momentum to ground speed, and that allows me to clip through doors. I'm really sorry, Matthew, to interrupt you with that. I do apologize. It was just really important, and I didn't want to lose that.
It's all good. I was just stalling at that point.
Okay. Well, I'm also going to go through here. So this is one of the first instances I've mentioned earlier that we had some interesting stuff when it comes to also, yeah, this is the same jump clip we did in Knuckles and Sonic's story. We did it just here as Rouge to clip through the entire area because walls don't exist. But as I was mentioning, we're going to do a results screen breakout here, and it's going to be really cool. So it's actually quite useful, as you'll see. So I need to defeat all these things by using the buggy, aptly named vehicle, by the way. It is just that. It is very buggy. So I need to shoot from a distance these different lighthouses, like that. And now I'm going to wait here. There's a text box directly in front of me. I want to spawn it on the results screen. Spawned it on the results screen, watch what happens. Like that. So why does that occur? Essentially, from what I theorized at least, in Sonic's story, or in the game, the text box animation essentially is the same flag as the it's the same exact flag as the ending the results screen animation. So if you are able to pull up a text box that goes off on its own on the results screen, you can end the results screen early. And that allows you to save like 7 seconds, 8 seconds. Egg Cerberus. So Egg Cerberus Shadow's a lot harder because, again, I actually had a good pattern at the start. If you don't get a good pattern at the start, you waste like 15 seconds because he'll just go off on his own. And I need to... Shadow doesn't actually whiff, so there is a lot of more risk involved. And it's just a lot clunkier, this boss. Not to mention you have to do 4 hits, not 2 like in Sonic's. So this boss can go for a lot longer, and is one of the reasons why Shadow is such a seldom run story in a lot of people's eyes. This is a reset point, if there ever was one. Although that being said, congrats to Gordon Ramsay, who I don't know if he's here in the chat or anything. He got this category into AGDQ 2021, which is the first time Shadow's story will be shown. And to be fair, it's really fair because he's the current world record holder for Shadow's story, and he has found a lot of stuff that I'm going to attempt to do in this All Stories run here. That was a good Cerberus overall. Anything around less than a minute is good. Considered good for Cerberus because of the RNG involved. IL World Record's like 50 seconds. I accidentally got IL World Record a few years back with 53 or 52, and I was just like, oh, that's a pretty good time. I don't think it's IL World Record, and then I checked, it was like, okay, just so happens to be IL World Record. I mean, Cerberus looks dope, but trust me when I say Cerberus is not something you want. Cerberus is a nightmare for runners. Again, very easy reset point. But we actually had a pretty good Cerberus there, so I'm happy. Now, this is a very good run so far. So now we're going to go back. So Shadow's main form of movement in this, generally speaking, is homing attacks. So there's a nice little rhythm to how you want a homing attack. I don't just mash A at random. I sort of double tap A really quickly in succession. So A, sort of like that. In order to, improve my overall movement speed. Going like 2, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And so it can get very RSI-y, for lack of a better word. It can be tiring, very tiring to do that. But there is a saving grace, slight saving grace, M speed. So this was found by Gordon a little while back. So basically, I'm going to hold my control stick at like a walking speed, but not a running speed. Also, so like in between sort of 2 different states, and the game will preserve, won't you enforce the speed cap on me. We're buying 2 different things there. We bought the air chip, which allows us to do light dashes, and we bought the memory shard. We'll explain what the memory shard is in a little bit. But I'm just going to homing attack against this, and you can see that I can maintain my speed that way. We do it again over here to better show it. You can see like pretty useful little small time saver in a lot of places, because it means you instead just kick to preserve speed and don't have to mash homing attack the entire time. You can also just kick to preserve speed in general, but if you want to chain them, you have to use M speed. And we're going into Kingdom Valley. So you can see the order of the stages is different, but generally speaking, they're the same 8 stages in each, but that means that they're not the same stage, if that makes sense. It's the same stage, like they share a lot of sections, a lot of the characters, but it's not the same stage. Like for instance, this is a very different stage than Sonic's Kingdom Valley. We start off in a different place than we normally would, and we sort of go backwards in areas that we went forwards in Sonic. And so now I'm going to set up here for a frame perfect trick that's a little bit difficult, but I go for it in every marathon just because it's worth seeing. This is known as Moon Jump. It can be done as any character who can glide. Those are Knuckles, Rouge, and Omega. Essentially, the game builds up like momentum in reverse as you glide down, so basically to counteract gravity. It builds up momentum in reverse, and if you let go of A on the frame before you land, you can like set that momentum off. And allows you to like go into the sky really high. I'm gonna try for it here. It's pretty difficult to do because again, it's single frame, but and I need to let go of A like as right before I land. I can't let go too early or too late. It has to be that exact frame. So yeah, this isn't going too great, but that's what this trick is like. So if you have anything you want to shout out any donations, now's a good time.
We do have a $5 donation from Hedgehog saying, Steffi Fish must die. Love you, Swappy.
Yeah, so I just did a moon jump there. You can see massive, massive vertical speed. Unfortunately, this is going to be a bit slower than if I just went through the stage as Shadow normally, but it's always cool to see it. You love to see it. Hopefully I can avoid the S rank, though. So avoiding the S rank in this stage is pretty much dependent on time. And so if you go just too fast, it won't be faster. Or, you know, it'll add like 5.5 seconds because in real time, even if you get a better IGT. There's a reason why we don't just use IGT for everything in 06, and I think it's pretty obvious from what we've seen before. If we used IGT as a whole in 06, there are regions that don't have IGT, like hub worlds, like just don't have IGT. Nice homing attack, Shadow. There are just regions that don't have IGT, and so that can make it really frustrating to go through. I'll try that again. Secondly, there is a gem in Sonic that I didn't get because it's not useful in RTA. It's known as the red gem, and it slows down time by half. So if we had to allow, if we used IGT, we'd have to allow, or like talk about rules that are red gem. I'm gonna try to do something called fancy clip here. You can see I just jump after I clip. If I don't jump, I'll fall. So it's really important that you get that jump. Just gonna destroy this enemy because it's annoying. Those lasers suck. I'm just gonna jump over here. And then I'm gonna use the Chaos Spear to get a little bit more distance than I normally could from a homing attack. That's useful in certain areas to essentially make certain jumps easier. And Shadow is a king of cool little skips. I'm gonna try for it again here. There you go. Instead of having to defeat those enemies or even skip to the first spring, I can skip to the very last spring in that area by just homing attacking in a correct way. Then I'm going to go over here. This, unlike Sonic's section, this automation automatically breaks you out. If you just don't hold anything, you won't do the automation, so you can just jump out and then skip that area, which is faster than doing the automation. So we're going to go through here. I'm going to do one of those spear again, so I fall slower. It doesn't really extend the homing attack range, it just makes it safer, because you reset your falling speed, much like we did with Tails with resetting the ceiling cap. It's similar to that. I'm going to go for something called Ramsey Rail here. I found this, actually, but Gordon Ramsay theorized it. Gordon Ramsay being the current world record holder. Not that Ramsay, but, you know. I'm going to get hit here, so I avoid the S rank, hopefully. I'm going to go over here, pause clip through this door, and finish the stage. Like that. Did we avoid the S rank? I think we did. Yes, cool. Okay, that saves a little bit more time than I hoped, so that's nice.
Not even a challenge.
Okay, and now we are here in one of the worst stages for Shadow's story, which is Crisis City. I'm going to try for some really cool stuff here, but remember how I said the buggy was buggy? The buggy is very buggy. The buggy is really buggy. There is no other way to explain it other than, oh my god, how does this control? How does this work? On PS3, interestingly enough, the buggy is actually faster because it's lighter. It has less weight on PS3, and so it's technically faster in the PS3 version. So I'm trying to... I basically want to stay in the buggy I start in throughout this entire section until a point where I can go on some rails. You can boost in almost every single vehicle you're in as Shadow by double tapping A. So I'm going to boost once there. I'm going to hit this corner here and then like go to the side. Hopefully not. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for not killing me immediately. Although, yep. Okay. That's how I expect this to go. This is what the vehicles are like in Shadow's story. Not a fun time, but we get through it. I can just get this one anyhow and go along. Yeah, so vehicles in Shadow's story are like one of the most major parts of Shadow's movement. You need to be able to control them pretty well most of the time, and sometimes it's just like, hey, you know, you wanted to just boost or something really simple. Nah, I don't want to let you do that. I just want you to flip over and like not be able to move, or potentially just die for the silliest of reasons. There you go, that was nice. That was a nice recovery for that. You can see we want to boost just through there really quick, and so we can get to these rails, and that actually ends the section off in pretty decent time considering all the mistakes I had. I'm going to try to do a homing attack like this. There you go, and so that breaks the speed cap, and so we can get to this area faster. Alright, I'm going to try for some stuff here. I'm not afraid, although I'm massively afraid, but I'm not afraid. We're in a marathon here, everyone. We're going to have fun. We're going to do all the cool stuff. This is known as, I'm going to do something called lamb sauce. Remember how we did like a ladder trick? That trick exists in fact, was originally found in Shadow's story. There is a different piece, there is a different like item we use though instead. We use a broken piece of rock to launch ourselves, and we do this twice actually. If you wanted to do it twice, I'm going to try for it twice because it's cool, and I always budget the time for it in all stories marathon runs. So I'm going to just jump up here and homing attack that rail. That skips having to defeat any of those enemies. This jump is a lot easier as Shadow because Shadow's homing attack is just longer, and so that's a really easy jump. Gonna go through again. Shadow actually has the same exact timing to speed up on rails, like 1, 2, 3, as Sonic. Other characters don't have that same exact timing, so it's a little bit different. But anyways, here it is. This is a breakout, which will then allow us to do something called lamb sauce. I'm going to go towards the right, and then just hold forward. I've aligned myself, I think, correctly. I should bonk on this bit here. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to sit on this rock. Then I'm going to kick it forward. And that's 40 seconds lost. Oh, well. Happens. I tried for it. I'm not going to try for it again. Sometimes the rocks will break too early, and that loses time. Unfortunately, I was hoping it wouldn't do that, but happens. I just have to make up for it by doing Section 4 rock. In the next area, so I'm just gonna go through the automation normally here, because otherwise I don't want to lose time again. It's not worth going for a second try. I'm also not going to do ladder, even though I could do a ladder here. It's just, you know, there's no checkpoint here, so I actually have no security, so I'm just gonna go through normally. And you can see how slow the automation, even though this automation looks fast, it's just slower than just flinging yourself on a piece of equipment. Okay, I'm gonna get some lives here, just because I'm low on lives in Shadow. Although, to be honest, so lives are kind of important in like Shadow somewhat, depending on what tricks you do. They are definitely not important in Sonic. Sonic gives you so many lives; it's kind of funny how many lives it gives you. That story. Anyways, I'm just going to go down, and I'm going to go through here. I'm going to get some 1-ups. I know where they are. And while it might lose me some time by getting hit to get the 1-ups, I want to have more lives, so I can try this trick that we're going to have coming up called Section 4 Rock. Everyone, let's hope the rock luck is better this time. I want a good piece. I'm going to try for it twice, I think, and then I will just complete the section normally if that doesn't go well. Doing this trick saves about 20 seconds if you get it on first try, and it even breaks even if you get it on second, so... Anyways, we're going to try for it. I'm going to break apart a rock later in this, like at the very beginning of the section here, and I'm going to hope that pieces land in a certain way so that I maybe have a good shot at getting this rock to the end of a section. Let's see. That's actually pretty decent. Let's see. Okay, I messed that one up. Let me just get a 1-up and try one more time. If this fails, I'm not going to do it again, though. I always go for it, though. It's important to be a little bit, you know, on the edgier side. Okay, that is it for me. I'm sorry. Rocks Rocks did not work today for Shadow's Story. That is unfortunate, but we still have a lot of cool stuff in Shadow's Story yet to come. So I'm just gonna go through this section normally. If you have any donations or stuff you want to read, go right ahead. I'm just gonna do this section more or less normally.
Okay, well, I'm going to take this chance and shout out the t-shirt store that's currently semi-sponsoring this event. So we have a t-shirt that's the Everybody Loves Everybody quote that was said last year is currently on the website i4tshirts.net. Any t-shirts purchased will also add towards the total to the marathon. So if you're looking to get something extra out of donating, you can get a t-shirt in the process and donate a little at the same time. So once again, you can get...
merch is a really good way of supporting a channel and also getting a physical thing.
Yep.
So yeah, this is the end of Crisis City, unfortunately, though. Yeah, that wasn't great, but I went for all the cool stuff, and I tried, so there is some valor in that, I suppose. Yeah, this is why Crisis City can be a bit if you go for that stuff, it can be a real big time waster, as you saw. But I'm not deterred. I'm not deterred at all. The next section has one of my favorite tricks in Shadow's story, and I'll explain why, because it involves sort of like the history of the run. Flamecore, again, I don't like Flamecore too much, but Shadow's Flamecore is mildly more tolerable. Mildly. This is an important clarifier in that statement, mildly, because of a trick in the second section. So I failed to mention what the memory chip does, the memory shard. The memory shard allows us to use Chaos Blast, which is the move that's being shown on screen right now. Thank you, conveniently placed loading screen. That is known as a Chaos Blast. It has 3 levels. We're only going to get 2 in this run, actually. 2 of the 3.
I can't fall off here.
I didn't have rings there, so I want to get rings, because safety. So essentially, there's some interesting mechanics that each of the different levels give you. We only really need the ones up to level 2. Level 1 allows you to do something called Chaos Snap, and Chaos Snap will essentially warp Shadow to the center of something he can homing attack on. Note that it's supposed to be the center of something, and we mentioned earlier, rails and paths are kind of weird in this game. They do some interesting stuff. And also, this move in general is just weird. There's a lot of interesting mechanics with it, as we will see pretty shortly. So I can use this to basically just clip through stuff if I can homing attack onto something in it, in like a box like that. Apparently that's actually an intended mechanic, quote-unquote, because in one of the DLC stages you need to do that in order to actually finish the stage. So I guess that's intended, but I'm pretty sure they didn't intend it for use in the main stages. But you can see here that usually unskippable door we can warp through because we can homing attack or snap to an enemy that's inside rather than like something else. And so that allows us to like clip through stuff that way. It's not really clipping through the door as such, it's just warping to an enemy that happens to be on the other side of the door. So we haven't technically defeated that door yet, but we were close. And this section always makes my heart race. Okay, now we're gonna do, this is one of the coolest tricks in Shadow's story. So remember how I mentioned earlier that, yeah, so Chaos Snap, if you charge like the A button, you'll then, if you homing attack something, you'll then warp to the center of it. Paths are strange in this game, really odd working. And so the Chaos Snap doesn't know where to put you if you homing attack a rail or a loop. So it sends you to the origin of the stage. The origin of the stage here is actually, fortunately enough, nearby a checkpoint. I can hit the checkpoint like that, and then warp to there, saving 10 seconds in the process. That trick was theorized since 2012 and wasn't realized until 2020, this year. And I'm so glad I got that. Oh man, that was so cool. Yeah, so basically what we did there, we wrong warped to the origin of a stage. We then flung ourselves into a death plane, used our corpse to hit a checkpoint, and because the corpse still registers as an actual character for 3 seconds after death, it allows us to respawn at that checkpoint, and it is awesome. So yeah, that's really cool. It's a really cool trick, and I'm glad that it's now actually used in runs, instead of just being like a thing we kind of neglect, or like a thing we could never do but hoped we would do at some point. And with that, we finished Flame Core. And I'm golding this as well. I've actually golded a lot of splits today. And all the time save I lost, all the time that I lost in the previous split from not doing Crisis City properly, I just saved back right now. So we're still on good pace. Okay, Iblis Phase 2. I'm gonna concentrate for this again. Same exact sort of thing as with Sonic's, except as Shadow, we have this Tornado Kick, which doesn't give you invincibility frames, but it means you don't have to do the spin dash kicking or something. We can just stay right next to the platform and like hit it. Generally speaking, I go to the slight left here. There's like an indent somewhere, like along, I don't know how to word it. Like there's like a slight indent down there. Not too far to the left, but somewhat to the left, and I basically fall off, land on the land near it, and then I get ready to spin kick him. So let's see if I can do this. There you go. And so we do that 2 more times to get fast hit. This is with the original version of the strat, because Shadow can do this really easily. Well, I say really easily, it doesn't mean I don't fail it sometimes. Which hopefully won't happen. But yeah, we're just gonna get another ring, or 2, I suppose, that's fine. I'm gonna stand next to the platform, wait for the sparkles in the background, which indicate that he's coming back, and then load onto here. There you go, that's hit 2. We need 1 more fast hit, so let's everyone hope that this goes well. Nice, got good RNG again as well. I think my timing is pretty good, so I'm happy. Get 1 more ring, stand here, wait for sparkles. There we go. That is all 3 fast hits of Shadow. Very nice. And much like before, again, this boss is pretty simple. You just basically wait for the next cycle and then go through like that. So if you have anything you'd like to shout out or mention, again, now's a good time. And I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to run at this event. All Stories typically isn't accepted to too many different places, but I'm really glad to have shown off All Stories a little bit more, and I hope it's made for an entertaining run so far.
I've been enjoying it at the very least. And I'm pretty sure some other people have as well, but I'm going to take this chance and oh. Sorry, just give me a moment.
No worries.
Seems like we're having technical difficulties there for a second.
Yeah, you can always go back to my stream though, although the audio won't be captured. So I'm gonna make sure to preserve the my other one pretty simply.
No worries, it has been fixed.
So I'm gonna take this chance and I'm gonna shout out the people that we're raising money for. So we are currently raising money for To Write Love on Her Arms. They are a non-profit organization, movement, dedicated to present hope and finding help for people struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. They exist to encourage, inform, inspire, and also invest directly into the treatment and recovery. This year is more important than ever because a lot of people are currently stuck at home due to COVID-19. A lot of people have lost their jobs and must stay in isolation because of the virus. So a lot of this builds up, and mental health is very important. So all proceeds donated to DPX will be going directly to Write Love on Her Arms.
And yeah, make sure, again, there's a lot of more times 3 donations, so if you ever want to send me a message, send the community here a message, feel free to donate, and yeah, it's just been really good to be working for this cause, honestly. Quick climb, this is funny. Yeah, she can just do that. That's just how bats work. TM. I'm gonna try for Moonjump here bufferless. I got it. Oh my gosh. That makes up for the failed ones in Kingdom Valley. There we go. So this saves about 10 seconds now that I've gotten it, so I'm just gonna glide down, hopefully not die. I should be good. Whoa! 26 is super good for that strategy. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, that was fast. Very fast, indeed. Yeah, that's...
Do you know the IL for that level?
I used to have it, because there's a different strat. We do actually do 2 moon jumps if we're doing the IL strat, and then we'd moon jump off a turtle, but we don't do that in RTA because that's hard.
I was just curious.
I think it's like 23 now, 24, so it's only like 2 seconds off IL. And that was previous IL record, like maybe earlier last year. That would have been IL world record, I think.
Wow.
Or near it. So now we're here at Mephiles, who is the main antagonist of Shadow Story. We haven't seen him yet, even though he's present in all the cutscenes. This boss is all about getting enough action gauge to get into Chaos Snap mode. So I'm going to spawn a set of enemies here, and just let them destroy themselves by hitting the lava there. I'm going to try to get these multiple hits on these if I can. Although this is not looking great. Yeah, this isn't great, but that's okay. The first section is pretty predictable. It's just that sometimes I don't get enough of these mini shades hit, and that can lead to some time loss, but that's okay. Still should be an okay enough time. Because again, we just need to get a full gauge, and I think I'm just a few short, so... There we go. No, what are you? Come on, Mephiles. That's not... Don't do me dirty like that. I'm then gonna Chaos Snap to him. And then I'm just gonna like press A few times, like not actually spam it, because spamming A actually neglects like one of the weirdest features of Chaos Snap. It actually does multiple hits for you occasionally, and so sometimes combat in Shadow Story, now that we have learned that this is a thing, it's very weird. You like press A, wait, let some normal hits come along and stuff, and do it that way. We're getting into the second section now. I'm going to... This is RNG. This is like a big point of RNG. Basically, we're going to hope that Mephiles stays in the same spot multiple times. He's not doing that. You can see when he does that, he just stays and gets damaged more. Whoa. That was a lot of staying in the same spot, okay. After I said no, he's not. Yeah, I'm just pressing X as Omega. There you go, that's the section done. That was some pretty good RNG. 4 hits in a row is pretty rare. I mean, the IL record for that has like 7 or 8 in a row. And since there are a total of, I believe, 7 different spots, that is a 1 in 7 to the 7th chance, which is like somewhere around 1 in 5 million chance of happening. So, I mean, even getting 1 in 4 is pretty rare. And it's a nice little time save if you get it. Omega is also, as we're going to see later, the fastest character in terms of base movement speed in the game. Omega walks the fastest out of any character in Sonic 06. Literally faster than any other character. It's so funny. He walks so fast we can clip through objects by just walking, which is what I'm going to try to do in a later stage, but here we have Radical Train. It is also a stage. Radical Train is a stage in Shadow Story. Really cool stuff if you can get some of the movement down, but it can be kind of annoying. Don't know how else to say it. It can be really frustrating. I'm going to go over here to the shop, and I'm going to hit Omega like several times, thank you. I'm going to buy the red memory shard. This is the level 2 of Chaos Blast. Then I'm going to clip through this. Same way we did building clip in Sonic Story, but except it's with a pause clip. Normally here you're supposed to talk to Rouge and like encounter a cutscene or something. We don't do that. Why would we ever need to do that? Instead we can just pause clip through here, although this being very frustrating today. Okay, we're gonna get through. Thank you. Yeah, that can be a really annoying clip to make sometimes. Yeah, this mirror is still active. So when I say a mirror is active, basically I'm saying they haven't put like a checksum to say, okay, have you talked to Rouge or something, or have you done a requirement? If so, you can do that. In Sonic Story, the reason why we did those clips to touch the Dusty Desert Mirror was because the checksum is actually just talking to the girl, not like actually reloading the hub world. So it then loads us directly into the area. Whereas there is no checksum there, so we just have to clip into the area, touch the mirror, and bam, we're there. That's going to come in handy in a few other places as well. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to try my best not to like get hit or anything, because I have good enough speed to this point where I can actually finish the stage without actually doing anything. I would do something called conveyor skip here, but I'm not going to bother with that. You can skip this conveyor but by homing attacking an enemy that's like far out of bounds. Well, not out of bounds, but like out of sight, the invisible one over there. But I feel like it's just faster in my instance right here because of how good I did those door clips just to not do that. I'm gonna clip through here. Get this. We're gonna Chaos Snap to the end of the section by just homing attacking the spring. And bam, there you go. We didn't even have to interact with the train once in that area, even though it's technically a vital part. So now we get... oh god, this vehicle. This vehicle can do some epic tricks if you really wanted it to. By epic, I mean terrible. This is fidgety vehicles in the entire game. The motorcycle. I'm gonna try my best to get it down without dying. Please don't just like spin or something. And that is why the motorcycle is one of the most fidgety items in Sonic 06. I even fell at supersonic speed because of how the physics in vehicles work. It is a thing. Hopefully we get it better this time. I think I have a better alignment as well, yeah. Okay, I'm glad I didn't just run off. There we go, finally done. Whoa. Yeah, that scared me. Thank you for everyone who's wished good luck in the chat. I really appreciate it. It's been a good one. Yeah, that radical chain was rough, but that's just because pausing and also other things. But Shadow's story is very much so I just take what I have at many points. Because again, Shadow's story has these really big time-saving tricks, and also like just has a lot of, what's the best word to describe it? It has a lot of like just jank. That's the word. There's a lot of jank to some of the stuff in Shadow's story as we're gonna see. A lot of jank. Also, this boss is really easy. Silver's boss in Shadow's story, really easy. I'm gonna homing attack him here. And then one thing I failed to mention is that these chaos attacks, which are like the homing attack like extensions like these, actually perpetuate through the original hot victory homing attack and can homing attack other things, so you can damage enemies that way. I've done it earlier for combat, but I just failed to mention it because I've done it so often now that I realize, oh wait, it's not a thing you're supposed to do. But yeah, so if you homing attack and then hit an enemy, you can do multiple hits by like pressing A as Shadow. If you hit something with 1 HP, and then aim somewhere else, you can actually guide your additional hits to other enemies, and it just sort of perpetuates on like that. It's pretty cool. It's just really weird to explain because it's just like, okay, how are you doing that? But it's really good for combat. This is one of my favorite stages in Shadow's story, Aquatic Base. Aquatic Base is really fun. So normally here you're supposed to play as Shadow and Silver, and you're supposed to investigate, like, what is the origin of Mephiles and Iblis? Ooh, what are they? What are they doing? These boys, these bad boys. What are you? But instead of actually playing as Silver at all, we're just gonna clip through here. I said clip through here, please. There we go. Gonna go around like this, and then I'm just gonna clip through the final door of this section. And then, yeah, finish the stage like that. In the first section, at least. There's a trend you can see with Aquatic Base in finishing the first section in absolutely much shorter time than you would ever expect to. Like, that is a very much so just a pattern of stuff in 06 for Aquatic Base in particular. And so it can be really cool to see. We have a bit more combat. You can see, again, chaos attacks here are really useful to get like extra hits on enemies, even if you don't homing attack them directly, and so you can get some pretty nice combat like that. You can clip through here, but I find it just more efficient, generally speaking, to just not, because if you fail one pause clip there, you are now breaking even if you didn't do a pause clip at all, and then other stuff like that. Here's a bit of lag reduction. I'm going to try my best not to shoot any bullets and to stay as far, like, break as little vehicles or like boxes as possible, so I have a less lag here. That was okay, wasn't great, but still decent. Gonna hit this thing, and it's gonna destroy all the enemies first, pretty much. Then I'm just gonna go through here. I'm going to activate to the second level of Chaos Blast, so I can do that. And now I'm just going to Chaos Snap to the enemies by just pressing A, pretty much. Like that. You can see it does some really weird warping depending on how your timing is. I can hit a leader, so I haven't mentioned leaders yet, but there are leaders in certain groups like that, like who have like certain powers, or basically if you defeat that one enemy, it'll defeat the entire bunch, and so that's really useful in avoiding and like getting a lot of points. You can't really easily avoid the S rank here once you get to a certain time threshold, so I just get the S rank. And now we get to one of the bigger sequence breaks in Shadow's story. This is normally a place where you're supposed to do a mission known as Mission 14. And it's supposed to be like an archaeologist talks to you, and it's just like, oh, hey, cool, archaeology, yeah. And she talks to you, and it's just like, okay, how are you doing? I'm an archaeologist. I heard about something in a book I read or in some research I was doing that maybe there's some way to get like a scepter of darkness by lighting some torches. And it's cool and stuff, but we don't actually want to do any of that. So instead, what we're going to do is I'm going to jump backwards onto a pillar that's at the back here, and I'm going to then homing attack around the trigger that normally would start the mission, so I can break out of bounds, because the Scepter of Darkness is actually already available to be collected at this point, even if you haven't defeated the mission. And so I can actually just go through this area, this town area, and go over here to get the Scepter of Darkness much before I'm supposed to. I'm using M speed on certain points here to like go through, and I'm just gonna jump here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. Thank you. Just gonna jump over here. There we go. I got the dog as well, just for you guys, since it's DogPound Expert. There's the dog. You can homing attack it and it will bark. That's the same thing as Fancy Clip I just did there. I did a little bit of a... I did a pause clip and then I jumped immediately after. So what the Scepter of Darkness unlocks is that spring. The Scepter of Darkness just unlocks that spring, which allows us to shoot over to Wave Ocean's Mirror. The mirror is still active, actually, before you even get the Scepter of Darkness, but there isn't really an efficient way right now to go from there, from where we were before, to the mirror, unless you like spam Chaos Spears, which takes way too much time, or if you do some really weird physics-based stuff, which is unreliable. It's quote-unquote consistent in that if you hit it the same way at the same time with the exact same conditions, it's going to go in the same way. You basically like you use a spear against a barrel and it flies into the air, you homing attack it, you jump on water, which isn't even consistent in itself, and then you get over, and then you can make it through. But yeah, it's not reliable enough, so just get the Scepter. Yeah, we're approaching the end game of Shadow as well now at this point. There are 2 more stories left, one major story, which is Silver's story, and then last story, which is like less than 10 minutes, if I'm decent enough. So yeah, Omega now. So it says we need to provide backup for E123 Omega, and it's supposed to be like, okay, Shadow, go rescue Omega. Like that's the whole point of this mission, of this area. Yeah, we're gonna actually have Omega rescue himself, I think we'll find. Omega, as mentioned earlier, is the fastest character in terms of base movement speed, so Omega walks the fastest of any character. Sonic? No, Sonic's slower than Omega. Blaze? No, Blaze is definitely slower than Omega. Every single character is slower than Omega in terms of walking speed, which is kind of incredible. So in terms of self-propelled stuff without glitches, Omega's the fastest. Self-propelled stuff with like power-ups is Blue Gem. Self-propelled with glitches fastest, I think, is the extended teleport dash, or ETD is Silver. Anyways, so instead of doing any of the stage as normal, I'm gonna go push up against these boxes and hopefully clip right through.
Welcome, Omega.
Let me just stop walking and go back through. The angle here can be a bit annoying to get sometimes, but I'm trying for it because it's cool. It's not working for me very well. Okay, I'm just gonna go around then. Just to play it safe, and so I don't lose too much time, I'm just gonna go around. You can also just hover around, but it is slower. It is definitely 100% slower to do this, but it's safer. So instead of doing box clip, which even though it would be faster, would be cool, I just couldn't get the alignment right. And the issue is if you hit that spring, you're gonna go back into the load zone, which will start like you moving, and I don't want that. I'm gonna hit the spring here, so that I can just avoid lag on the results screen here. Otherwise, the result screen would lag at the end for some reason if you just hit the goal ring directly. Don't know why. And next up we have Mission 15, which, as previously mentioned, Shadow's Combat's kind of weird, champ. It's kind of weird. I like it, but it's weird. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain it other than, I don't know what this is. This is weird. So, first things first, we're going to defeat the first 3 enemies, and then we're going to get a capsule that will regain our action gauge. And so once we have that action gauge in mind, we can then go to the second level of Chaos Boost, which allows us to have our spears now actually give damage, which instead of just stunning. So it means it's not only is it like a way to stun enemies, it's also a way to attack them. And so that's pretty useful in of itself, which is why we get the second upgrade, but not the third. The third is kind of useless as it stands at the moment. And in fact, when I played this game casually, I wasn't even aware that the third one had any use. I thought it was just, oh, cool, it will drain my bar faster. It's something where basically you can like press RT and LT and it will do like a finishing combo move, but it sucks. Like, it's genuinely terrible. Yeah, I'm not pressing A too many times here. I'm not mashing it typically. Like, I can just hold A once there and it'll go through. I can also stun enemies like that. So that I can defeat them earlier than normally intended, and that is essentially Shadow's combat. And there you go. That's mission 15. We talk to then the absolute champion of this game, the only important character, Lord Regis, obviously most important character in the game. He gives us access to Dusty Desert because we've been good boys and we decided, you know, yeah, we're gonna defeat all the enemies for you, so thank you for giving us access to a desert that you apparently own through a mirror. Yeah, thank you. Shoutouts to my boy Lord Regis. So now I gotta head for the desert. This is the final stage of Shadow's story. And it's a pretty fun stage, to be honest. Although there is a very big trick at the beginning, which can go one way or the other. It can sour. It can basically be a determinant for whether or not you get like a certain time in Shadow's story. It's called flipping clip. Normally you're able to exit from objects, you know, like by just pressing Y, you can like exit and re-enter objects. But at the start of this section, since you spawn into this one, and for some reason they just don't want to let you spawn into another one, this specific vehicle, at least in normal and hard modes, does not allow you to exit it by just pressing Y. So the way we're going to try to exit this vehicle, instead of having to go through this sand slalom course to unlock a door, the way we're going to complete this stage, or the first section at least, is we're going to go over to the very end of the stage, and then we're going to flip the vehicle over. If it's registered the vehicle is flipped over and it's uncontrollable, which is another different thing in of itself, because it could really be uncontrollable, but it doesn't register that. It's going to allow us to, it's going to explode the vehicle and we're able to get out. This looks like a good setup. Just going to let go. Yeah, this is going to break out. So I'm just going to let it like stand here, do nothing. It's going to explode. And then I can just clip through here. And there you go. That first section's done. Yeah, you can, there's no boosting in the hovercraft. The hovercraft, if you double tap A, will allow you to, hover like that, and so we can use that to sort of slope the vehicle in a way that it will flip once hitting the wall. Once it hits the wall.
It's just a bit further.
Huh? What did I do that for? Okay, I was trying to do a pause clip there, a pause clip into the dash panel so I could get a good amount of speed, but unfortunately I didn't get that. So instead we're just gonna play through this. We're just gonna go through this section earlier. It's slightly faster if you get it first try, but loses time otherwise. And then instead of unpausing, I just hit restart. So that's cool, I guess. Yeah, so this is all based upon your movement, really, this stage. It's all homing, attacking in the right spots, and knowing how to do certain clips. So I'm going to pause clip through here. Come on. So your angle is also important, as mentioned. Your angle is super vital. Just going to get to here, going to hit this door. There is a way to do result skip here by switching to the shadow we had in that room, but it's typically slower because you need to do you need to avoid all the checkpoints here, and that's harder than just going through as the normal first shadow and doing it. And then you also have to do some pause clips at the end in order to actually avoid the text box that appears. Otherwise, you won't avoid that text box. So I'm just going to play through this as the normal shadow, the first shadow, instead of trying for a result skip. There's also a way to finish the stage as Omega, but it's slower. They would allow for result skip, but we would use this text box essentially to skip the result screen.
Yes.
And we're almost done Shadow's story. We got one more boss left in Shadow's story, which is Mephiles Phase 2. And then we'll be basically halfway done, or more like, I guess, 2/3, a little under 2/3 done with the entire run. So yeah, that was pretty decent Dusty Desert, all things considered. Yeah, Mephiles Phase 2. So this boss is interesting. Because we don't have the 3rd level Chaos boost, we won't get something called Chaos Blast, which could be an easy, quicker kill, but there's actually a way to do this boss that's faster if you don't do that. I'm going to go to the back now. I'm going to just hold back and homing attack stuff. And then I'm going to jump. going to use my friends to destroy these things. These are called mini shades, as we saw earlier, and they give you stuff occasionally. And you can see they sometimes float around you as well, but that gives you a little bit of an advantage with your action gauge at the very start. Doesn't give you super too much, but it does allow you to get some more. And now we have the absolute units for this section of the boss. Basically, much like Mephiles Phase 1, we need to get our action gauge fully complete before we can actually hit Mephiles. So I'm just going to attack these eyes, jump into here, get a little bit of lag on this, so I can hopefully get a bit more hits. Go like that. Hopefully this will give me enough bar. There are some manipulations that I have yet to learn for this boss. I find them a bit... This boss is a little bit head-turning in terms of how exactly you're supposed to do it. Why are you here? Huh? Oh, what? Okay, cool, I'll take it, but what? Who asked you? Come on. Yeah, so sometimes the hit detection's not great either, I should mention. As you can tell. Now, if this gives me enough, I should be able to go immediately to the phase with Mephiles. It did. Cool. So I'm going to hold A. I'm going to homing attack him as he goes up. 1, 2. 1, 2. That's not enough. 1. Okay. Okay, so we didn't get the skip that I wanted, but that's okay. I'm just gonna go up this like little ladder of Mephiles. And there you go. That's the end of Shadow's story. Not a bad fight for the final boss, but it could have been better. Luck was decent and everything was there was good. I don't know what Shadow time that was. That was a sub 48 though, so we did save time on the previous All Stories. So currently, I'm about 2 minutes ahead of my All Stories world record, and we have my best story and last story to go. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable. Can't say anything yet. But no, this has been pretty good. It's been a pretty good run so far, so let's go through, and we're going to go back to the main menu, and then we're going to start Silver's story, which is my favorite. There's going to be a lot of explanations in Silver's story, I should warn. I talk a lot in Silver, because there's a lot to talk about. Okay, so Silver's story. The first thing we're going to talk about is something known as telethrow. This was found fairly recently, back in June, July. I found it on accident during another speedrunning marathon, and it saved about 4 minutes in Silver Story as a whole. It's a very simple... It's easy to grasp, hard to master. So I can... If I stand on an object, any object at all, with a steep enough angle, and then throw myself on it, and hold forward, and like stay on the object, I can like stay on it as I throw it, which allows me to like throw it through the sky like this. It's very fast. So basically what's happening is the game buffers a jump when I normally lift an object and press X. It like buffers a small hop for Silver. But if you're at a steep enough angle, the object, and also the object's supposed to be thrown at like 45 degrees down. Like 45 degrees down from stuff. Like you're supposed to throw it like 45 degrees where it registers down is. But if you're at a steep enough angle, the game is like, okay, down is now slightly up, which means you can then walk back onto the object after you've hit that small jump. And that allows you to stay on the object as it, like, hovers a little bit. Oh. Okay, I'm just going to play this a bit safe, because I'm basically skipping Blaze here by playing as Silver. I did something called Levitation Extensions, which is a frame-perfect trick we'll get back to in a little bit. But I just want to get to this rock right here, and we can avoid having to play as Blaze. If I just stand on this rock, jump, land, and then throw twice. 1... 2, like that. I'm holding X here so I can do a frame buffered input on the next load screen. I'm holding X on this screen and I've let go. That will buffer that input on the first frame of the next stage. So that's going to force Blaze to touch, like to immediately switch to Silver at this section, because we're supposed to play this as Blaze, and so the game's like, load in Blaze, but nope, you're not Blaze, but you know. And we use the rock again. So I'm using rocks at the start here because rocks are like one of the most easily available and easily manipulable objects, but you can use like a lot of stuff. Like it's funny how much stuff you could use in a Silver story. So yeah, that's the thing. We actually get results breakout, which unfortunately isn't useful because they did not include a there's no text box here. And there might be a manipulation to get a result skip here, but it seems like it'll be one of the most difficult things in Silver's story, which is saying something because Silver's already pretty difficult. This is an automatic S rank as well, so I'm not too concerned about, like, you know, S ranking stuff. Iblis Phase 1 is next, and this is the centerpiece of object mechanics in Silver's story. So Silver's story concentrates itself a lot on manipulating the physics engine in the game, and also combat is essentially object-centric in pretty much all instances. So I'm going to hold right and then go around to get 3 hits at the very beginning. This is a cyclic boss, 3 hits per cycle, 4 cycles total. Notice how I picked up that object, the object that's in the middle is the one I picked up first. Silver throws objects in the order they're picked up. So it's really important that you are aware of how the objects will then span once you pick them up, so that they don't, trajectories don't change because of being pushed against another similar object. So that's like another important, like, vital part to Silver, understanding Silver, is being aware of the space around you. And just, like, the order in which you pick up things. Because right here, I really wasn't that cautious, so it could explode some of my puffs here. There you go, though. That's Iblis Phase 1. Really clean for the slow bits in there, honestly. So you can see, like, it's very important being aware of stuff. And also for bosses like Iblis 1, Egg Genesis, and Iblis 3, it's really important that you don't spam hits. While it would be faster in certain other bosses that don't have invincibility frames, these bosses do. And so if you just throw everything at them at once, it's going to waste all your ammo and you'll get, like, 1 hit, if even. So it's really important that you time them out rhythmically and, you know, in a nice, smooth order. And with that in mind, we now have Tropical Jungle coming up. This stage can be very frustrating now that we had Telethrow. There is a double box setup that we're going to involve that's going to allow us to get a box, which is, boxes are like sort of like the double-edged sword in Sonic 06. They can be potentially really useful because they're everywhere, but they're super hard to manipulate properly. However, we have a nice little rock here that gives us a pretty steep angle, a steep enough angle here in the Tropical Jungle hub world. And so I'll explain a little bit of the minutia that's involved in Telethrow. So while Silver can face any direction on the top of a rock like this, what's really important is that you hold towards the object. Oop, can I do this again, actually? Let's see. That was a decent recovery considering I failed it. But yeah, essentially you need to be at a steep enough angle for one. Like that's well known. You need to be at a steep enough angle to throw the object without you actually falling off. You need to hold towards the object even if you're facing a different way. So the direction Silver faces will influence how, like, left or right it goes. If you're facing like imagine this is the face of the object, just like it's tilted, but imagine you're on this, and if you're facing like directly straight up, you're going to go as far forward and up as possible. It's going to be the most height you get. If you're slightly to the right or left, you're going to basically start off even and then slowly fall by, like, regular gravitational pull, but you'll be able to go slightly left or right. If you hold down, you're going to get shot really quick into the ground. It's kind of funny. Okay, I'm going to restart that. This is what I was referring to. Boxes can be really finicky. You need to get them steep enough here by pushing them against one another, but not too steep, or too steep is fine. You need to be able to get them steep enough so you can stand on them still, though. That's really important. This isn't steep enough. And so it's really easy to, like, underdo it. But you can see what I'm referring to with some of the box mechanics. Ooh, this is a bit risky, but I think I can make this work. If there's something you want to say right now, go right ahead. I'm fine. Okay, that was a little bit rough, but better than my PB, actually, because this stage can be really wonky. It's dependent upon, like, how you push the objects against each other. Sometimes it can just go brrrr, and that's just how objects work. Other times it can be a lot nicer, but, you know, it depends on just how the game is going for you. I'm actually going to hold X while I hit save here to do a frame buffered input into the next stage. And this is going to be really important for doing a pretty impressive trick here in Wave Ocean Blaze that skips a good amount of the stage. remember that we did loop launches in Sonic's story already. We can do them as Blaze as well, because Blaze has something called the Fire Claw, which is just a homing attack that's activated by pressing X. It's not a double tap, it's a single press, which makes the timing here a little bit different. I'm going to land in the middle of this loop, and I'm going to aim for an area where there's like a cave and a rail, and then I'm going to do something called the AFC, which is a frame perfect trick that actually involves something called the spinning claw. Again, it's a misnomer that is called the AFC, because the Fire Claw is best move. But yeah, that's the loop launch. We can get over to this area where the checkpoint is, and I'm going to build speed up on this rail, and then do a frame perfect trick, hopefully. Okay, try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this could be fake, this could be real. Let's see. It's real. Okay, cool. So, the Advanced Fire Claw is a frame perfect trick that allows me to keep my ground speed in this move called the Spinning Claw. And it basically gives me a long duration while having massive speed, which means Blaze can just fly through levels like that. You can like skip on the water because of the fact that like you've jumped, and so the game registers that you didn't have that momentum going down, back up, much the same way we had like Moon Jump. Essentially, it's storing like momentum upwards to counteract gravity when you jump. So that means you can then use that momentum to skip on the water. And finish the stage in really, really quick time. Coming up here, so we're supposed to do something called Mission 8. We're supposed to help Lord Regis again. Again, best character in the game. We're supposed to help Lord Regis, but we're not going to. We are nothing but a psychokinetic 14-year-old from the future who doesn't want to listen to the Lord Mayor. So instead, we're going to do something called the lift exploit. This is an exploit you can do with many different objects in Silver's story. But we're going to use it here with a box that's inside this. So I'm going to just walk over to here. I'm not going to talk to some people in the town. I'm going to get this box here, and then I'm going to go back through. It's going to face through the wall, don't worry. It's going to just face through. That's going to be cool. There you go, thank you. I'm going to place this box with the flat surface up to the top, and I'm going to push it against the door. Gonna push it against the door. I'm going to line up here. Oh, okay, I need to do that again. No worries. This trick can be a little bit finicky sometimes. I'm going to get more boxes this time. Essentially, we're trying to get the object flat with both itself and like the surface of the door, so that we can. It basically allows us to create a small platform that allows us to clip through. So I'm just gonna push it up against further. This should be good. There you go, and we can clip through by jumping, and that allows us to not actually have to do anything with Mission 8. There you go. Yeah, Silver is by far, with the speedrun, Silver is my favorite character because it's so cool to see how fast he goes. It's a lot of object mechanics and it's a steep learning curve, as I think you can see from, I think, the difference in complexity that I've been mentioning between the two runs. I just also know Silver better, but there is a lot of complexity still in Shadow and Sonic. It's just a different kind of, like, centricism, if you will.
Just you wait, Iblis.
So I'm gonna, okay, that's bad. I'm gonna let the object sort of rotate around until it gets to its flat bottom. Once it gets to the flat bottom, I'm going to push it up so I get the lift exploit, and then I'm gonna land on this door. This door will take me out of bounds over here, and that's pretty much, the door opening is like the only thing we do quote-unquote normally in this stage. This is a really cool strat, so let's see if I can get it. I'm gonna go over here, I'm going to get this pot. I'm still using LEs, the frame perfect extensions of my hover, to basically go a bit further and regain my action gauge. Those will be useful. Gonna try that again. That spike ball, I don't want that. No spike ball, okay? Thank you. No spike ball this time. Man, this isn't going great. Okay, so yeah, the spike ball can break the pot, that's why I don't want it. And that unfortunately that was bad luck, so we had to restart that area, but we're gonna be good. Still gonna save a lot of time here. So let's hope the spike ball doesn't come back. I'm gonna hate you if you come back, Spike Ball. We don't want you. No one wants you. Okay, cool. Gonna jump over. I'm gonna pick up the, Come on, video game. Wow, this is like the worst Dusty Desert I've had in a while. That's okay, though. Dusty Desert can be really annoying to get sometimes. Just I've had really bad luck with the optics so far. I need to basically pick up the object while I'm out of bounds, and then keep it holding it so that it gets pushed out of bounds as well, so I can then do a trick with it. Try this again. Please be kind. There we go. Oh, that was really annoying. So I'm going to let the object land like that, not like that. Let the object land like this, with the handle closest to me. And then I'm going to align myself at the steep point here, and then I'm going to throw once, and then twice. I'm going to let it wait a little bit, because there's a death plane above me. Then I'm going to throw again. And one more time. Finish the stage like that. Was worth it, I promise. A little bit of time loss for me, because that just went really badly for my standard, but that's okay. I will be good. You can see though that Silver has a lot of finickiness with him. It can be one way or the other pretty easily at certain points, and stuff like that really shows this is not an easy trick. That's like the worst I've had that. Yet the thing is, that breaks even with the previous strats we had there before telethrow. That's about as I would have gotten if I didn't do any telethrows at all. So that broke even, which just shows you, how much time that one trick saves. Yeah, that was a not so great Dusty Desert, but we can make up for it. So this is the boss, the only boss that I know of, really, where avoiding an S rank is about as fast as getting a really fast time with an S rank. So this boss is really quick. I want to defeat him in 13 seconds, or slower, with no rings. Get no rings, not a single ring. Just gonna wait here. Huh? Where are you? You're dead. Huh? Huh? Hello? Sonic? You're dead. Sonic, you died. What? What? Huh? What? Okay. Sure? I guess I just spawned him and he didn't die until he respawned? What the?
Looks like I'm on a roll.
That's a first. That's genuinely a first. That wasted so much time. What is this game doing to me now? It's so funny. That doesn't usually happen. You can usually just destroy him in like 9 seconds time, and then it like finishes around 13 seconds. But no, he just disappeared and then died as he respawned. Very cool. Okay. Yeah, this silver's been fairly rough for me, but not gonna let it get me down, because we got Right Acropolis coming up, and this is the last time we'll see Blaze, so hopefully we can just nail this. I'm gonna do a pretty difficult trick here known as a telelaunch. There used to be a trick we used to do that like that telethrow later replaced. And it's known as telefling. Essentially, if I pick up an object while on top of it, as if I was far away from it, it's going to like fly in the air. And then once it's in that state, I can throw it and lift it, and that's known as telelaunch. So we're gonna see what that does with this sign here. If I step on it like this, and then I go back, and then I throw it, you can see it gets me massive speed and height in the air like that. And I can use that to fly out of bounds here and enter the stage without ever getting the normally required item called the Shock Bracelet. Shock Bracelet's super good for casual play in Silver, and also score attacks, but it's not useful at all to get the Shock Bracelet in other places. That was very clean. So now we have Blaze here. This is the last time we'll see Blaze, unfortunately, but she's cool. The last trick we have here, it's the very end of the stage, is an AFC. We need one more AFC, one of those frame perfect tricks. That's really difficult and not fun, but we try our best for it. If you fail it and in a way that means you can't recover, you lose like 50 seconds, but it's a marathon. We're gonna go for it. So I'm just gonna stand to the left here, fairly low. I think I'm too far to the right though. Nope, okay, so I'm launched on this. I can then go left more and align myself with these dash panels, because these dash panels will get me the furthest through. I'm gonna hold forward and then I'm gonna press LT. LT will recenter the camera behind me, and it means I won't actually go back the way I came. And so I'm just gonna go like this. I'm gonna try one more time. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. There we go, got it. Third try's a charm, and then I could just clip through like that, instead of having to do the actual stage. And now we're gonna do more telethrows here. This used to be a section where we walked, funnily enough. Walking was actually the fastest method here to complete the stage, but now we don't do that. Instead, we just throw ourselves on rocks because Silver is so cool. I mean, literally anything works. Literally anything with a steep enough angle will work. And as you're going to see, there's some interesting choices of vehicle? I suppose you can call them vehicle. As you're gonna see in later stages. Some really funny ones. I mean, what have we already gotten? Does someone in chat want to like list all the things Silver's currently used to fly into the air at breakneck speed? Because it's a long list so far already.
Okay, a little further to go until the base.
There you go. That's the end of Aquapolis.
That was easy.
Yep. Well, not stop sign yet. That was telelaunch. That's not telethrow. Although you can telelaunch off or telethrow off them after a telethrow. Or Teletubbies. Yep. Teletubbies. No, but like you can like telelaunch and then telethrow off them after. Yeah. Pot, container, rock, box. There's a lot of variety. So now we get Egg Genesis, the same boss as we saw in Sonic's story, although a little bit different. So I'm gonna get, this is a cyclic boss. There are 4 cycles, each take 6 hits. I'm gonna get enough missiles to complete the first 2 pretty smoothly. I want a ring. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm just gonna wait here for the missiles to respawn and then shoot really quickly. Respawn on the ground, and then I'm going to pick up as many missiles as I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to do that one more time once the boss is vulnerable again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that. And so that's how you defeat Egg Genesis. It's pretty much a pattern of, okay, recognizing how many missiles you pick up by using your action gauge at the bottom right, and knowing how to time your throws and when to time your throws. It's a pretty cool boss, honestly, if you get it right. And that was really smooth. There you go. Nice. 44, 6, 16. Smooth. Yeah, make sure people to get donations in. There are a few good points for donations coming up in the next few parts. There are a few... In Silver's story, we can skip a lot of stuff, but there are a few missions which we simply just cannot skip in Silver's story. And the unskippable missions are coming up here. They're something. They are indeed something. This is the Amy mission. We love the Amy mission. May I say, holy heck, Amy, go fast. Let's go. Yeah, so this is why we skipped Amy in Dusty Desert. What we did there when we did the pot telethrow is we skipped pretty much having to play as Amy, Silver again, and all that stuff. None of that. We just fly through her section above it and then avoid the death planes and stuff, and it's just like, bam, there you go. Here, though, we have to play as Amy, and this is actually one of the instances where PS3 is definitely faster than 360, this IL, because the draw distance works differently in the 2 versions, and it explodes some boxes up there on our right, which means that these enemies we just had to, like, hammer instead, they just immediately die. On PS3, which saves 5 seconds. Doesn't make up for the 10 minutes lost per hour, but, you know, it's still funny. And yeah, that's the Amy mission. Hooray! She went fast. Nice. Yeah, you do this mission. You have to defeat all the enemies pretty much. There's no way to avoid that. There's no skip. It's just Amy mission. Amy cool. Amy sick. So now once here, we're going to go and get the Heart of Wind. So notice that I skipped the Shock Bracelet. This is really vitally important for the mid to late game in Silver Story. The mid to late game is super based upon these tricks known as extended teleport dashes or ETDs. So the reason why all this weird stuff has been working so far, like levitation extensions and water skips, which I failed to mention, basically if you just jump and hold X, you can skip on water as Silver. The reason why all this works is because of a trick, the weird properties of the slap, the stun slap. It basically preserves momentum for any animation you do on the last frame of animation, and only that frame, which means that it's a 1-frame window for these sorts of tricks. Levitation extension is 2 frames after you let go of A, so it's like let go of A, pause that frame, you then hold X to preserve your momentum of the hover. Here we're gonna get the teleport dash by getting the Heart of Wind, and that will allow us to like dash forward at like 80 meters per second or something crazy, and we can preserve that in our stun slot by hitting the last frame of animation for it, which is 9 frames after you press A twice. So AA, wait 9 frames, X. And this is really useful because it is a really quick way of building up speed in Silver's story. And so it allows us to clip through a lot of stuff that we normally would have to do. So instead of doing mission 11, which is a normally required mission, I can just go around it by using the levitation extensions and extend teleport dash to just be cool and stuff. I can then jump and then go around. There's an invisible wall here, but I can just hover. By tapping, I can extend my hover longer and use less of the gauge. And bam, there we go. Radical train like that. So yeah, the difficulty is while it is a frame perfect trick, is the same timing every time, and so someone like me who's played this for quite a long time, I've gotten used to the motions. And now we get to my favorite example of telethrow. When I say any object can be used, pretty much, I mean any object. We're going to use a shovel here, and you're going to see that turning around in place is really important. So I'm going to turn around in place and move right. Then I'm going to do an ETD, so I just get that massive speed after, and that skips pretty much all this stage. Bam, like that. And that's all of Radical Train done, pretty much. You can just clip through here, and then just go fast. Fun trick. And just to, this really shows Silver's power. I'm saying Silver is really, really cool, because he just is. This is an incredible, incredible trick. And just he becomes this really... I remember seeing this as a comment once. Yeah, he becomes as cool as he is in the cutscenes. That's, really accurate. Because playing as him casually, you aren't aware of all these really cool pieces of tech. And so you're just left thinking, this could have been cooler. But not here. Now comes Shadow. So Sonic, I failed to mention because Sonic disappeared. Sonic doesn't have invincibility frames, nor does Shadow. So I could technically keep on barraging him with, barraging either of them with hits, and they could get down immediately. The thing with Shadow's boss is that there's less hits to go around. There's just less objects around, and so I'm going to use these wooden barrels. They will respawn after a certain amount of time, but it can be really annoying to do this boss at points because you are limited in your hits, and again, as I mentioned, what you pick up first is the first thing you throw, and sometimes you can throw things without realizing. Nice, though. That was a very clean Shadow. That's, excellent. 34? Yeah, very slick. Very clean Shadow there. That's, the best I could possibly ask for. IO world record's, 26, but that involves, throwing explosive barrels, which could destroy realistically useful ammo. So I did, for RTA strats, that's incredible. Really clean. And this is going to gold really easily as well. Nice. That saved 30 seconds, 30, 40 seconds. Okay, so now we're here at Aquatic Base. So remember how I said Aquatic Base is the single trademark thing of Aquatic Base is finishing the first section in unrealistically fast time. So this stage normally takes 4 to 5 minutes. You swap between Silver and Shadow, but from Silver's perspective now, not going to do any of that. That doesn't matter to me. I don't like it. I don't care for it. This is the final room of the stage, right here. I'm here. I'm going to do whatever I want here. I'm going to explode. And there you go. 9 seconds. First section done like that. Just because the extended teleport dashes are super useful when it comes to clipping through objects and stuff, because it gives you a burst of speed immediately, and you can preserve that speed by just holding X. The reason why we skip the shock bracelet is to allow us to hold X, and that's really useful because it means we can get a lot more momentum here in some places, like here. This clip is really cool. And that means we can preserve that speed as we fall, which is really, really fast. And so skipping the shock bracelet's super useful for speedrunning, but casually I recommend getting the shock bracelet because it is useful. Again, every time I do one of these inputs, it is frame perfect, but I'm just sick, I guess, at the video game. Got Hope Clip as well, that's really good. That's sort of a weird angle, and sometimes you can just not get it. And we're gonna do some interesting combat. So the shock bracelet, while useful for combat, just means we can't do any of the cool stuff I just showed off, and so we typically skip it. But another way to kill the enemies here pretty quickly is to stun these two enemies here and let the birds get stunned themselves. They're gonna get stunned, and if you push something against them, they're gonna instantly despawn. That's really good! 114 is incredible. That's only like 7 seconds off IL world record, so that is fantastic. But essentially, yeah, those birds, they just spawn if they are stunned and they register that they're in collision. And you can actually just move collision around by picking up those Iblis worms and then just pushing them against it. It's incredible. No, this is fantastic. Fantastic mid-game. Really good mid-game so far. So, now we get onto the mission where I don't have to do anything. So, this is a really good point to mention donations, but I'll say when we start because there is a little bit of explaining I need to do. This is an escort mission, and again, we've tried everything to skip it, but the load zones to like get into the next area aren't there. It's just like, hey, you just do it. You know, it happens. And so you just have to sit here for 1 minute and 20 seconds while we do something quite interesting. So notice how the mission here says we're going to protect Anna. She knows the secret. And that's important because plot? Anyways. So the thing with this mission is it's an escort mission and you think, okay, I need to protect Anna. Hey. No, the strat we do is actively threaten Anna twice. That's the strat. That's the strat we do, and it's the fastest way to complete this. But the biggest enemy in this area is actually the bench. The bench at the start here is frustrating. So I'm going to try to push Anna away from the bench by, like, walking in a certain way. Hopefully that does it. Yeah, she didn't get benched. Good. If she stands in front of that bench, she wastes 2 seconds, which is all the time we save from doing this. So Anna will run if there are enemies near her, but we want to make sure she runs forward. So the way we're going to do that is wait for her to get onto the bridge, and then as soon as she's on the bridge, I'm going to spawn the enemies in, and then she's going to run a little bit faster there. And then I'm going to wait for about 27 seconds on the timer up there, and then I'm going to spawn in another enemy behind her, and she'll walk further yet again. And so that's the stage. As soon as that happens, I don't have to do anything more. There you go. Yep, that's it. So if there are any things you want to read or anything you want to mention about the like incentives coming up or donations and stuff, now's the perfect time.
Okay, I will, we don't have any current donations at the moment, or new donations, I should say, so I will, go over the, some of the polls we have going on at the moment. So, as I was saying earlier, we do have the Celeste file name currently in the lead is the Fwahaha, which has an Easter egg in the game for it, currently winning by $1. We have Bomberman's Act Zero Color, which is Purple's currently winning by $1. We have Bomberman's Act Zero's Gender, which is male or female. We have the Super Mesh Droid, Kiss or Kill Sephi Fish. Right now, Kissing the Fish is winning by roughly $45. And then we have the Monster Hunter World Weapon Selection, which the Switch Axe is currently winning. But of course, we have the Super Metroid Save or Kill the Animals, which currently Saving the Animals is winning by $132.97. So if you want to chip in, you can to any of these to try to get what you want to win. As well, you can also select an incentive as well on top of voting for the polls. So if you want to donate, those are the polls that are currently active at the moment.
Sweet. Yeah, please make sure to. I actually am going to explain a lot of stuff here. This is the most difficult trick in all of Sonic 06, and just to be extra safe, I'm going to save here, because I have 2 lives, and if I might get this trick and then die in the next stage, which won't be fun. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but this is known as trial skip. So remember how in Sonic's story we had to do some trials to, like, you know, get some cool stuff, all that fun things. We had to, like, get the eagle to go up. Silver technically has to do that, but, like, technically doesn't mean has to in Silver's story. You know, just like we can do whatever we want in Silver's story. So instead of doing any of that, I'm actually going to use some of the geometry here and hover and use levitation extensions, those frame perfect extensions of my hover speed, to climb up these walls. Because the thing about levitation extensions is not only do they allow me to, like, go faster up these walls, they regain my action gauge, which means I can hover for even longer. So the mirror here is active. They did not actually put a checksum to say, oh, did you do all the missions? They're like, nah, no one's going to be able to reach that mirror as Silver, right? He's like really slow and nothing can totally be done with him at all. It would be really fast if we had objects in this to just telethrow ourselves there, but there are no objects in this hub world that you can interact with, unfortunately. There are in the previous hub world, if you remember, and you can get to this. Mirror at that point, but if you hit it, nothing happens, because the game loads in chunks. So like, at that point in time, it doesn't even recognize that like Kingdom Valley is a stage you can play. The mirror is there and you can touch it, but it won't actually preserve. It won't preserve the fact that it's touched through load screens. The only reason why the Dusty Desert Warp works in Sonic Story is because you literally fulfill the requirement for it on the same screen as the other mission. As like the time you touch it. So I can't like touch this earlier and then have it warp me here, unfortunately. If it did, that would be significantly easier than what I'm doing. So I've just gotten through wall 1 and 2. They're fairly easy. Wall 3 here, I need to get a lot of these tricks in quick succession or else I'm going to die. So I'm just going to concentrate. This is really difficult. I am the only person who pretty much does this in all stories. I'm also pretty much the only person who does this in Silver Story runs. So that's fun. Just gonna go ahead and keep on going here until I get a full gauge. I want a full gauge just to be safer. Yeah, it's difficult. This is not easy because it's really easy to fall off. Not only because this is very slippery, honestly, but because the geometry is weird. As you see, what you see is not what you get here. It's a very strange mechanic as a whole. The levitation extension, and also just the geometry here is very odd. Go too far to the left, you're going to fall off, and you'll be pushed down if you hover up. So the rightmost part of this is advantageous, and you'll be pushed up if you hover through it, and LE through it as well. But if you go too far to the right, you're going to hit a ceiling, and that's going to knock you back down. So you want to stay like straight up and align like yourself with the center of an object like this, in order to like get the best chance. So I need to do this recharging thing one more time in this wall. Just gonna hover up again. Yeah, this is really difficult just because I'm chaining a bunch of different frame perfect inputs together. And it saves time only because of the load screens. The load screens for the missions are long, and because of that, this saves about 2 to 3 minutes compared to doing the missions. And so it's a big time save in my opinion. It's worth going for if you're confident in your LEs and you have good silver movement in general. But, like, that's a tough ask for most people. But yeah, with that in mind, we're just going to go over here, align myself, recharge a little bit more, and now that I'm fully recharged, we can go up to this mirror, and that is Trial Skip, everyone. Really difficult trick in the game, done in a marathon. Very happy. So now we're here at Kingdom Valley. We're going to do what we did in the hub world with the sign. This is a telelaunch, and this telelaunch involves me basically turning around in a certain way after landing on an object, and then throwing the object, lifting it. So I'm just going to go through here, stand here, go back, and then lift it up into the sky like that. Bam. Did not get the extended teleport dash, but that's fine. We can just LE over here. I've already done bunches of LEs. I can just do more. It's fine, and we're just gonna hover over to the load zone for this first section, and it's just gonna finish like that. And I'm just gonna. You want to make sure you're high enough though, because otherwise you're gonna hit a death plane and you'll die, and you can't actually hit this load zone from the death plane. For some reason, you're just too low if you try to do so. So now that we're here, we're going to get back to Sonic. Hooray! This is why we bought the purple gem earlier on. And the purple gem was really useful, honestly. It's going to be really useful here. There is a way to, like, throw yourself on a box, technically, at this point, but boxes are, like, inconsistent for the purposes of telethrows, as we saw in Tropical Jungle. Anyway, Sonic, hooray! We're Sonic again. And so we have all the gems and stuff, the power-ups that we got in Sonic Story, still with us, so that's cool. And so I have the white gem. I'm going to use the white gem to clip through a wall here, and then I'm going to use the sky gem to skip switching to silver, and we're going to finish this section as Sonic. And then I'm going to go over here, white gem clip. Just gonna jump, homing attack, and then throw the sky gem like that. Switch to the purple gem. So the purple gem makes Sonic tiny and can jump infinitely. I don't get it either, trust me. It's a trait. They chose it. This is how things work in this game. Yep, this is a feature. I'm gonna try to time my jump so I'm not going too high, because I don't want to like have to fall too far. So I'm trying to like shorten the distance, the time I have to go to get over to here. This seems slow, and it kind of is slow, but the thing is Silver's section is very laggy as Silver, and there aren't many good telethrow setups to get through this section really quick. So it's just generally faster to do this as Sonic. Not to mention Sonic's combat is faster, so Sonic combat is cool. I'm gonna switch to the white gem to do combat again. I'll just jump here. Hit that, and there we go. I hopefully will avoid the S rank. Ooh. Yes, okay, wow, that's really close. Nice.
Too easy.
Good additional, good avoidance of the S rank there. Happy. And now it's Flame Core. Flame Core is the final stage of Silver's story, and it is arguably one of the hardest stages in Silver's story. There is a telethrow here, and it's a pretty neat telethrow. Like, telethrow, as you've seen throughout the run, is the trick where we basically throw ourselves on an object and go fast. Like with the shovel, like with the rock, like with the pot. There's some ingenious setups that are involved in it, and one of my favorite ones is actually here in Flame Core. So Flame Core previously was a really annoying stage to go through. It was fun if you did it fast as Silver, but it's hard to do that because of all the different stuff. So instead of like having to do any ETDs throughout like the first half of the section, I'm instead just going to go over here. There's a nice box here, and there's a ring capsule. Oh, that's pretty cool, right? The ring capsule has collision. The box here, this has collision. So we're able to like, I'm able to like take the box. I'm going to lift it, and then I'm going to pick it up again before it lands so that it doesn't like shuffle about too much. And then I'm going to push, slowly edge it so that it gets steep enough to walk on and give me the feature. So like here, and then I can just throw it like that. It's really clever, honestly. I love setups like this because it's so unique and it's really cool to see as well. And I'm going to try... No, I'm not going to get the skip over to the other area. Okay, that's fine. We can't clip through that door, so instead of clipping through the door, we just clip around the door, which I find funny. So yeah, we can't clip through that door as Silver, but we can clip around it. And so we do that. Thank you. That Cocoa Puff was really, really nice to me, actually. Because those Cocoa Puffs, again... Oh, boy, do I hate breakfast cereal. Okay. Okay, are we really going to do this? You really going to do this to me, game? I am so scared. I am unbelievably scared right now. Oh my god. There are no rings. No! Oh, come on. I have to redo that entire section over. Ooh, will I still get world record for all stories? Okay, let's see. I just gotta clench it, guys. Just gotta do this. That sucks. This is why this stage is terrible. And I've mentioned this several times before, but no one believes me. Flame Core is awful. Let's see if I can do this again. Okay, this is now going terribly. Let's see how we can do. This is not good. Yeah. Yeah, I think that lost the world record. That's okay. We'll see how we go. This stage sucks. Smile. I did all I could. Try not to let it get into my mind now. Just try to be cool, be fast, be quick. Okay, this game just hates me. Man. Okay, let's just do this safer. I didn't realize how low of a gauge I had there. I should be safer now that I'm thinking about my action gauge. Thank you. Never mind, don't thank you. Man, I'm tense now. because it's gonna be close. Sonic and Shadow were good, yep. But yeah, this silver was rough. I'm gonna try for some cool stuff though. Maybe that will save the time. Yeah, the silver, this is showing you like silver can be very variable. Like as I've seen, I've done everything I could, and yet the game is like, nope. So I'm gonna try to do something here called a box telethrow or telelaunch. This is hard because boxes, when you telelaunch, the object rotates, and boxes rotate really inconsistently. But this is a huge time save if I get it, and so I'm feeling risky, everyone. I'm feeling the burn. I'm gonna try my best to do this as best as I can. So let's see how this goes. I'm gonna go here. Try it one more time, and then I'm gonna do kerfuffle if this fails. Let's just try. Okay. Line myself like this. Okay, kerfuffle time. Gonna wait for the box to respond. If it does, hello. Okay, so now that it's respawned, I'm gonna double tap the dash button, and then I'm going to lift. Then I'm gonna do this. Okay, try it again. Go through. Not high enough. Okay, so I got to go through the stage normally. This is rough, but we're gonna be okay. If there are any people, any donations, anything you want to announce, this would be a good time so I can concentrate and hopefully regain this so this gets still world record. Silver's not usually my weakest one as well. That's kind of weird, to be honest. Silver's usually my strongest, but eh. That's okay.
Okay, well, I guess this would be a good time to bring it up again. So we are currently raising money to write Love on Her Arms. They're a non-profit movement dedicated to presenting hope and finding help for people struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. They exist to encourage, inform, inspire, and also invest directly into the treatment and recovery of these people. This year is more important than ever to reach out and to try to help people with mental health. Many people have lost their jobs, currently in isolation, hiding away from the world because of COVID-19. They cannot get out, they cannot see their families and friends because they risk catching and spreading the virus. All proceeds donated to DPX this year will be going directly to Write Love on Her Arms.
Yeah, please make sure to donate if you can. I'm breaking, that lost a lot of time, and unfortunately I'm breaking even with Pete with world record right now, so I'm like only a few seconds ahead. But we could try our best. Let's see how this goes. So this next boss is RNG based, which is why this is gonna suck, I feel. I need to get a really good time here to tie my world record for this. So I'm going to, there are like 19 consistent hits, 19 puffs we can get consistently, and then 10 points of damage we get from hitting him with the God Puff and the Facepalm. So I need to get 3 hits some luck to get a 220. That's like the standard time we get for Iblis. 1, 2, 2. Okay, I need 4 hits some luck now because one of them didn't hit. One of the standard puffs didn't hit. Please, let's even get 150. 150 would save some time here. So I just need to get, I think 4 more from luck, or 5 more from luck. So I get 5 more hits, so we have a, I think we have, we're just, let's just see how it goes. Okay, 4 from luck. This will be close, no matter what. So I'm just going to concentrate here. Sorry for kind of giving up on commentary. I just realized, oh gosh, this could world record. And then I'm like, Flame Core. So yeah, so there are like there's like a few different tiers that you can get for Iblis, depending. You can get like 220 is the standard if you get like 3 hits from luck, which is usually pretty easy to get. And then the next one up is 150 if you get like 8 hits from luck. That is achievable. That is technically a possible thing you can do, but it's like not super easy to get, not super consistent. Yeah, the silver was poor for my standard, but even so, this is actually going to be about as fast as previous world record was back in like a year ago. So that just shows you how much telethrow is saved. Okay, I do not have enough hits to get a 150. I'm 1 hit off, I'm pretty certain. But let's see. Just verify that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1 hit off. Oh well. This should still hopefully be a good enough time for me to get world record. So it's all dependent on the final stage, guys. It's all on last story to see if I can beat my own world record. So yeah, this is God Puff. He's gonna throw it at us, and as soon as he's thrown it at us, I'm gonna split. And so we have a little bit. We still have one more. This isn't the end. This isn't the end. I should mention. There's still one more story. There's one more story. We are 4 seconds ahead of world record right now, from formerly 2 minutes, but that's fine. I got really bad luck on Flame Core and died. We would have been fine otherwise, but so I have to do some pretty cool stuff here in last story, or else it's donezo. So last story is a nice finishing block for the entirety of this run. It's a pretty good like goodbye letter to what like 06 has been, and it's one of my favorite ending stages in Sonic history. I actually really love it. It's like Canon's Core, but just better. Like Canon's Core from SA2, but better. Okay, so End of the World is a stage. Smile. End of the World is an interesting stage, in that yeah, End of the World essentially puts you as 7 of the 9 playable characters. Blaze is gone for plot reasons, and Sonic is currently incapacitated, so you don't play as those two. We're going to play as each of the characters, including amigos and other main characters, in this area here, by essentially going to areas we have not been before as all the characters. So this is actually unique stages for every single character. Even though people like Silver have been in Dusty Desert, he's not been in the section of Dusty Desert we're going to play in. Tails has not been in Crisis City. Omega hasn't been in Flame Core, etc., etc. And so it's really cool to see like all these new characters in different unique spots. So the same flight mechanics as Tails. Bam. And then we're going to go to Omega. Omega, again, just walk most of the time. I'm going to do a small little walk to get myself a little bit more speed as we start off here. And then we're going to see how this goes. The hardest trick is coming up later in Silver section. So everyone, I need you to pray for boxes. I need you to pray for boxes, everyone. I need that box. Good timing there with the hover, so I can then immediately start walking again. If you do that too early, you're going to actually have to fall down again, and that wastes time. Everyone, we need the box lock. I need a good chant. This is so tense. I'm feeling so tense right now. So, yeah, we can just fly around as Omega because the hover doesn't actually have a limit, and so you can just spam hover to move around like that. Next, we have Knuckles. We're going to do the screwdriver, which is the move I do by holding X and then releasing to get a little bit of a quick speed from the ground and then hover into it. Then I'm going to stop and hover again, so I reset my falling speed so I can make this gap. Screwdriver again. And next up is Silver section after we get this emerald. This is the tense one. Okay, so notice that there have been these blue and red eyes of Solaris. The blue eyes of Solaris are time dependent. They will spawn in for a certain time, and then they will reset if you touch one of the little orbs. The red eyes of Solaris are position dependent, so I'm going to use one of the red eyes of Solaris here to allow me to get up to the top of something. And so I need to time a really tight ETD here. I don't know. Nope, okay, so that is probably the world record gone, but we'll try. I'm gonna just go fast through this area. No, that's pretty much done. Ah, man, that's sad. So yeah, what I was trying to do there was get the Red Eye Solaris to shoot a box at me, and then I was going to land on the box as it sank up. Yeah, this is unfortunate, but happens. I can still probably get this if I get a good enough Solaris, so it'll be tense, everyone. So yeah, you can let the Red Eyes of Solaris throw a box at you if you basically hit that spring at just the right time. It needs to be like not too late, not too early. Unfortunately, I think we were just a little bit too late. And so the timing there is pretty tight. But I'm gonna do my best here. So I might concentrate for a little bit. I'm sorry if I stop commentating for a lot, but I'm still gonna try much in this area. You don't really do much different. Like we have an Amy section. There's another minute of Amy, full Amy action. So this is the Amy section, and it's fun. By fun, I mean not at all. It's so slow and so tiring, but that's how it goes. Okay. Jump on this rock, and then I can double jump as Amy. If you don't know, she double jumps. It's cool, I guess. I don't know why she does it, though. Cool, I actually didn't get hit there. That's going to be a little bit of time save. You can get. It's really easy to get hit as Amy, like really pathetically easy to get hit as Amy. And if you get hit on the ground, it wastes a lot of time. So I don't want to get hit on the ground. I want to get hit in the air. If I have to get hit, I want to get hit in the air so that I don't lose any time. Take over here. Hit the spring. I'm gonna get hit in this enemy's thing, so I just don't lose too much time. Bam. Hit that. You have to destroy those enemies to get through here. There's no way to clip as Amy. Are you kidding me? Amy clip. Yeah, she's so fast. I'm gonna get through here, and then I'm just gonna hit this emerald, and we're gonna on to the last section of End of the World. Looking very tight, everyone. Whew. Okay, everyone, we now need to hope for a decent Solaris. That's our saving grace here. Okay, shadow section. Go over here, gonna hit this enemy, gonna then hit this rope. 1, 2, 3. Hit this mirror here, go over here, kick through here, light dash. Get up to here, hit this dash panel, so you can avoid getting hit by these enemies. Come on. Okay, get through here. And then Emerald. Yep, it's gonna be tight, everyone. Gonna be very tight. So let's hope for the best. We are coming up on time soon, by the way. So get ready to split once I say time. Okay, I can do this. I believe in myself. Let's hope for good Solaris luck and let's just nail this final boss. It's not impossible.
I have my finger on the trigger.
It's not impossible. My possible time is apparently 4 seconds behind what world record currently is, but I'm certain I can get a better Solaris. So I'm going to switch to silver, and I need to get multiple hits of silver. We want triangles, because that means like the objects are spaced far enough apart that I can get multiple hits.
I'll take care of this.
Okay, that was not multiple hits. I just don't want them to be destroyed, honestly, because they can get destroyed very easily. Like that. Why does this boss suck? Okay, double hits there. So you can see, like, double hits are important for this boss, but this boss also sucks. That was a decent silver. Okay, I'm gonna switch now to Shadow, and I'm gonna move up. I'm holding RT to charge my action gauge. I'm gonna move up to, like, this area, and then I'm going to move right or left, and then as soon as I get a full gauge, I'm going to, like, shoot like this, so I can get multiple hits. By moving around like that. You can see, like, whoa, that's a lot of hits. It hits, like, the back of the enemy and also, like, the front arm. So that's why this is super important, because each of the individual spheres here is actually its own, like, it has its own, like, hitbox. So it's really important that you get multiple spears to hit, so that you can save a bit of time. So I want to get hit here as Sonic. Like, immediate thing I want to do is get hit. Although I guess I won't get hit for now, because I need to do like that, and then I need to get hit. So I have invincibility frames, and I can just hit the enemy like that. And I'm going to do that again. Or I guess I'll just... There you go, switch to Shadow now. This is not the end. There's one more phase after this one. I'll say when it's time. So we're going to just go over here, stand like this, and we're going to try to aim for the arm. Like that, so that we can get multiple hits that way. Okay, that was not great. It's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight. I need to get 2 hits here as Sonic by going immediately down. And then I'm gonna shoot around a shadow. Down. Okay, get a hit here, and then I'm gonna press X again, because I'm gonna immediately be hit. And then I can get another hit on here, and then I'm gonna switch to shadow.
Something's different.
Okay, let's see if we can do this. Okay, gonna shoot up A. And then as soon as it's ready, I'm gonna shoot this, so I hit its arm. Not good enough. Nah, this is not gonna be good. Yeah, it's already past world record at this point. So close, though. So I'm just gonna finish the Lars here by this is basically what we do for the rest of the boss. We're just gonna move up an A, like so. And so we hit its arm and also its center core, and so that gets us multiple damage. Time is coming up very soon. Once the gauge depletes fully, it's over. Time. Okay. Yeah, that was only 22 seconds off world record though, but that was a really good run overall. I'm really upset with Flame Core now. I told you Flame Core was the worst stage. Flame Core is the worst stage.
Yeah,
Flame Core would have been world record by a minute. Oh well.
At least you got a marathon PB.
This is a marathon PB for all stories, yes, by 5 minutes. So, and also I got a PB in Sonic Story. So it's not... There is good to be had here. But yeah, that silver was not my best, unfortunately. I shouldn't have said I was a silver specialist. And I told you, should not have said it was world record. It is still though, very good run.
Incredible.
My summa best is now a minute lower than it was. So that's actually still really good. Thank you. I'm really glad that I can have here. No worries. Good luck with that. Thank you for having me. I've been FocusSight. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/FocusSight. I promise one of these days I'm going to beat this world record because this is so easily beatable. This is beatable.